and to be a part of the solution rather than the problem.
When asked whether he was in favor of Iowa keeping Medicare privatized, Jesse Green had this to say.
I think the state has saved a little bit of money, but this whole public and private debate shouldn't be the center of the debate. It's how can we make the situation better? If it's working for other states, there's got to be a way we can make it work better for Iowans.
Jesse Green is the Republican candidate for Iowa Senate District 24 seat. He'll meet Cynthia Passion in the November election. One of Iowa high school football's oldest running rivalries will not happen this Friday. Fort Dodge was set to go on the road and take on Mason City on Friday night. However, Mason City's football program has been suspended for 2 weeks after members of the coaching staff were exposed to the COVID-19 virus. Mason City made the announcement on Tuesday to suspend football for 2 weeks. The Dodgers and the Mohawks have played over 100 times in their respective school histories. The Dodgers have won 16 in a row in the series. Fort Dodge is currently looking for an opponent at the last minute to fill the now open date they have this Friday night. That's your Alpha Media News Update from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom. I'm Rob Jones.
This is AM 1400 KBFD, the voice of Fort Dodge, 238. In the weather, sunny today, high 85. It's 85 right now. Overnight clear with a low of 63. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 77. On Friday, it'll be sunny with a high of 85. Saturday, sunny with a high of 88, maybe 90 degrees. Same thing on Sunday. Labor Day, a chance of showers, otherwise sunny with a high of 73. Tuesday, chance of showers, mostly cloudy with a high of 64. Right now, 85 degrees at AM 1400 KBFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Obituaries coming up right now. With a look at the closing market report, here's Dwayne Merlick.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. September corn up a quarter penny at $3.49 3/4. December up 3/4 at $3.58 3/4. March up 1 1/2 at $3.69 1/4. May corn up 1 1/4 at $3.75 3/4. September soybeans up 7 1/2 at $9.62 1/2. November up 7 1/4 at $9.62. January up 7 1/4 at $9.68 1/4. March up 8 cents at $8.69 3/4. September wheat down 8 cents at $5.47 3/4. Soybean meal down 50 cents a ton at $3.0230. October live cattle down $1 at $104.47. December down 70 cents at $108.45. September feeder cattle down $142 at $138.70. October down $120 at $139.45. October lean hogs up $137 at $56.40. December up $72 at $56.50. I'm Dwayne Merley.
This is AM 1400 KBFD, the voice for Dodge, 85 degrees at 2:39. Obituaries this hour brought to you by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. Mr. Alf Lee has died. Alf Lee has passed. Services for Mr. Lee will be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. Gunderson's Funeral Home visitation will be between 1 and 2 tomorrow at, of course, Gunderson Funeral Home. Obituaries this hour brought to you by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. Councilman Terry Moehnke is in the studio. We'll talk with him next.
It won't be long before the kids are back in school. Got your to-do list ready?
School supplies? Check. School clothes? Check. School sports physical? Not check. Uh-oh.
Better call Active Health Clinics today. Active Health Clinics offer sports physicals for kids in grade school through college. Your child can also become a new Active Health patient for only $25. And you'll have the peace of mind of knowing their spine is in line and they're all ready for school. Make an appointment for your star athlete today. Active Health Clinics, Fort Dodge.
Eating healthier can be challenging, but adding extra fiber to your diet is as easy as having your favorite sandwich, as long as you make it on Country Heart's Fiber Up bread, that is. Each delicious slice of Fiber Up multigrain or 100% whole wheat packs a walloping 8 grams of fiber. That's over half the recommended daily allowance in just one sandwich. So have a PB&J or BLT. It's good for you. Country Hearth bread. How do you sandwich?
Michael Devine at AM 1400
In the name of justice and the American way of life.
with 60 rounds of freedom.
That's right. I have 60 rounds of freedom with me here at all times. I'm Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth at AM 1400, KBFD, the voice for Dodge. You can join us by going to my Facebook page. My personal page is Michael Devine. You can go there for a video and audio presentation, and you can go to my station Facebook page as well. That's at AM 1400 KBFD, the voice for Dodge. Again, video and audio. You'll see Terry Minke's smiling face there. Actually, I haven't seen Terry smile since about 1981.
Yeah.
I think actually,
Yeah.
I'm also at JMike1400 on Twitter and JMike1400 on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
And I'm I'm Lucky M210 on what is that other one? Tumblr.
I thought you said Grinder.
No, Grinder. Don't say Grinder to an old person.
Sorry, I've been watching a lot of 2.5 Men reruns.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, in my spare time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I did see you at a Dan Myers event.
That's right.
Your smiling face, and it was nice to see. I'd never met Randy Feenstra before. Seems like a nice
Never
man.
met Feenstra?
Never met him. Never talked
Feenstra
to him.
rocks.
Cranberg tries to keep me away from anybody of any kind of position in the Republican Party because he thinks I'm going to contaminate them. So
No, he thinks you'll whine at him because your Medicaid bills aren't being paid.
no, we've actually been very good at that.
Oh, they have. They
yeah.
pulled out of it.
Well, it's getting better. I mean, they still obviously should go back to running it themselves instead of the privatization. I think that was a mistake. So I think the state could probably do a better job. Maybe that's what I'll do in my retirement years is take that program over and get it straightened up. I don't think that's going to happen, though. Yeah. So anyway, it was a
Did
good
somebody
time.
ask you to be the
No.
state director of Medicaid?
No, they didn't.
Could you tell us, ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention. What the hell is Terry talking about now?
But again, I did get a chance to talk to the governor a little bit, once Cryinbrink got out of the way and let me actually approach her.
Cryinbrink had to get out of the way for you to
Yeah,
approach
he
her.
had to get out of the way. He's bigger than me.
You bigger than most people.
Yeah, big, except for Feenstra. Feenstra doesn't have as much weight on him though as Tim does. So I think those
Tim
two,
can take Feenstra.
You think
Easy.
so?
I mean, he's probably 10 years older than Feenstra, but he can take him.
Yeah. So anyway, we talked a little bit about the transload facility. The build grant for that's going at the Iowa Crossroads of Global Innovation. That it's supposed to be announced in September, which surprisingly it is September already. So I did put a little bug in her ear about that, and she was going to have her staff check to see if she could put, call into whoever it is that they need to talk to about that. I assume it's USDA or something.
I suppose.
But it'd be nice to get a little bit of money out at the ag park. It would be nice to get another business or two out there, or 3 or 4.
Yeah, they were going to really come there, as I recall.
No, the supervisor will be here later, won't they? You could ask them how that's going. So, but if you look around, there's a lot of things happening. Iowa's, really moving forward despite the bad year. I think they've got positive growth in their rainy day fund. They've built that back up from nothing back up to something. So, despite what you might think about her handling of some of the COVID disaster money and whatever, and the confusion over those numbers and everything, I think she's done a pretty good job considering what's been thrown at her in the last year or so. So it was fun talking to her, and she's a very nice lady one-on-one. So I enjoyed getting in her ear for a very short period of time.
Yes, you did. I was standing there waiting for an interview, and you were very impolitely crowded in front of me again. Gosh,
Yeah.
I had to live with
She
that.
realizes my importance over some low.
She didn't know who you
lady.
were.
That's true. I didn't introduce myself either.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember what were those newcomers meetings, those young leader conferences where you would show up and go on
Young
and on.
professionals.
Young professionals bore the hell out of
Something.
everybody on
Yeah.
young professionals.
Yeah.
About your service clubs, and you'd intentionally make me wait a half an hour.
At
Since
least.
I
I thought I could
40 minutes at one time.
I was pretty much
Very interesting to hear about, pork chop dinners, which, by the way, let's talk about that just for a second.
Yeah.
Monday, September 7th, the Fort Dodge Noon Sertoma, which Moehnke has also ruled for many years. There will be a pork chop dinner catered by Old Boston. Well, you guys aren't doing it yourself this year?
Well,
Okay.
they're going to just provide the cooking.
Okay, serving from 4 to 7 at Veterans Memorial Park, which Moehnke created, of course. Carryout is available. Quantity is limited. The tickets are $15, and we're going to give away a pair of them a little bit later on. But I've gone for several years. I think I did it. Yeah, I went last year. And it's always a great pork chop. So September 7th. Where can we buy these find tickets? Doctor?
Any News Sertoma member should have them. I've got them at my office, or you can buy them at the door on Monday. It's no additional charge if you buy them at the door. The problem we run into, of course, is that we debated if we were going to be able to have the event this year. So we're kind of going to a drive up. You can still sit underneath the shelter out there, but we prefer people to drive up, just grab it and take off. So it's been a exciting year for all of our nonprofits trying to raise money. I mean, we had to cancel our Unite to Fight for the Backpack Buddies.
Yeah.
Dragon Boats was canceled. I mean, just about everything has been belly up. So,
I tell you, I love it when we see these protests led mainly by middle-aged white women and their juvenile delinquent followers. In Green Bay, Wisconsin, an Antifa leader known as Commander Red. How's that
Commander
for
Red?
Commander, like,
Sounds
yeah,
like
you can go to my Facebook page and see what a tough-looking guy Commander Red is. He was apparently arrested carrying a flamethrower to a Black Lives Matter rally in Wisconsin. He was taken into custody and he dropped into the fetal position and started crying. 23-year-old guy,
Makes me cry about it.
Oh, God. An officer said he saw 4 individuals walking toward a protest with baseball bats. One of them was Commander Red. Commander Red's name is Banta. One man was wearing a metal helmet with goggles and military-style gear with multiple pouches, and he was carrying an Antifa flag. This is the guy that was arrested, Commander Red, the one who bawled all the way to jail.
Today's the 75th, the end of victory in Japan, VJ Day, 75 years ago today. That's when they signed on the Missouri. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. This is also the 45th anniversary of the end of hostilities in Vietnam, and to all the Vietnam veterans, I would say welcome home, and your sacrifice was at least to me and others was much respected. Not like those liberal creepos. I'm sorry.
Are you done ranting?
Yes,
now?
I am.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can move on to construction if you'd like, or we can talk about Olson Park. We do have a workshop coming up. We won't have a meeting on Monday because it is Labor Day, but the 14th we will have a meeting on the plans. Tentatively is the Snell Crawford Expo Park Master Plan Program from ISG. We're moving forward with some of these plans, even though we haven't quite finished up with Olson. I hope Olson continues to move forward at a good pace. Looking forward to getting a community shelter, kind of a big facility built out at Olson Park. It's going to have bathrooms and meeting rooms, and it's going to be a rentable facility. Hopefully by next spring we'll have that up and operational. It'll be very similar to the one that's at Camp Anoki south of town. So Snell Crawford has been, that's Noon Rotary that adopted that park a number of years ago. They've made several suggestions as far as what they would like to see there. The ISG master plan tentatively came out. I was part of those discussions a couple years ago, and then they've kind of run with those plans. And the biggest controversy about that is driving across the water. There's certain people that think that's a good idea and some people that think it's not necessary. So it'll be interesting to see at the discussion for the workshop, what direction the council is going to go with on that. Expo Park, of course, there was a move underway last year after Pastor L got murdered to rename Expo Park. There was a petition drive in town. There was almost 2,000 signatures on that petition to rename the park. And I know that also Roger Porter, Jim Stubbs, I think it was the guy from the highway department. Is that Miller? I can't remember, but there was, a group of law enforcement officers that endorsed that plan because he was, involved with that. Steve Hedinger at the fire department also, Hergenreiter, and they, have supported this. So we're hoping that Expo Park, we can still recognize the contributions of the Exposition Park, which was about 100 years ago. There was a fairground type facility there, which stimulated it. But I think Pastor Al meant a lot to this community, and it would be a way to recognize his contributions to the community and the tragic end of his life, of course.
I hope that is the case.
I hope so.
We lost a fine man. Our community can't stand to lose somebody like that.
Yeah. He was a leader, I think.
Pastor Austin Hill, I'm sure, will do a great job as chaplain, but the man is just simply irreplaceable.
Yeah, it's hard to replace somebody that's worked so well with so many people and was a
He
caring,
really did.
compassionate. He was there for everything. And,
Yes, he was.
You know, if the guys needed a shoulder to cry on, he was there. And if a family
Great
needed help,
organizer. He got those softball games going. And
the SOS group is still active. TJ Pingle out at Shimcats is still heading that up or part of it. And so they continue to support our firefighters and law enforcement officers. So he did a lot of work in a short time. He came here, he went 10 years ago or so.
Something like that.
I can't remember. But anyway, his wife still lives here in town, and a nice lady. So anyway, those plans will be brought up on the 14th. We'll be looking at the parks. And again, we're continuing to upgrade the facilities, make them more user friendly. Olson Park, the pond over there is beautiful. If you haven't had a chance to go over there, don't feed the fish and don't go swimming. Apparently some guy's been taking a bath in there every day. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, it's just
some guy.
Nobody
in Sertoma, is it?
No, I don't think so. But, we do have cameras out there. So, I mean, we're hopefully going to be lighting that place up and watching the
Some guy's taking a bath.
That's what I was told. That's what I was told. Yeah. So now the big thing, we got koi fish in there, which are really cool, but they're on a special diet. They don't want to contaminate the water. So we don't want people out there throwing stuff in there other than what's supposed to be thrown in. So
I swam a lot in the state's rivers and gravel pits.
Yeah.
Had a great time. Always had to come home and take a shower right away because the things are so filthy,
Yeah. Well, nowadays, if we'd ever get that 1 cent sales tax passed and that 3/8 cent go to
we got
water,
it passed. Nobody's pushing it. What's the deal there?
I don't know. You'd have to ask our representatives and our senators that.
I will.
If you're having somebody in tomorrow, maybe you could ask them. Clean water is very important. It used to be you could drink out of a stream and not worry about it.
Sure.
Now you drink out of a stream, you don't know what's going to happen. You're going to grow a fifth leg or something. Get all green, look like the sun.
I suppose.
Yeah. So anyway, that's going on. The construction, as you know, driving around town, Central Avenue and 15th is open now. 15th Street itself is still under construction to the south.
Yeah, to the south. Yeah.
They've still got that torn up, putting in some sewer work, and now they've closed up by the bridge on First South. They're putting in some storm sewers up there. They had it all marked up, and they were digging it up today as I drove by. That's supposed to be a relatively short project. I think 3 or 4 weeks. They've got by Servpro down on North First Street, they're digging up to do some water work. 10th Avenue North, they're digging up by Cramey Drive and 29th Street. South 30th Street, between 5th and 8th Avenue South, they've got dug up. 7th Avenue South between 29th and 37th is dug up. 1st Avenue South at 20th Street, which is the one we just talked about. And basically every place you go now, there's orange cones, but we like to see that. I mean, every time you see something dug up, that means a new street is going on top of the infrastructure that they're putting underneath it. We pretty well eliminated most of the sewer and basements in the south part of town, but they're continuing to work on that with their CSI money, community sewer initiative. So those are projects that we got a little bit of grief on because it did raise our water rates a little bit. But again, we're seeing a lot of improvements and a lot of new streets as a result of that. So one thing I have asked for is to look at 5th Avenue South. The railroad tracks there between 21st and 25th are getting quite rough, and that road has always been just a little pitchy to me. It's not very smooth. There is a way, and they've done this on First South, to come in and kind of grind it level. And I'm hoping at some point we can find a little bit of money and have them come in and smooth that out a little bit. I would imagine in a truck going down that road, it's quite the ride. They're probably pitching up and down, and it's a little bit disruptive on a nice new street to have that kind of a condition to it already. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure in your Toyota, you don't have that problem because you're like riding on air and that thing. So.
No, yeah. Speaking of riding on air, I was driving down to the Cedar Rapids area over the weekend, and my in-car, the phone rang in the car, and I answered, and it was from Seattle, Washington. The only reason I answered is I thought maybe it was a rioter calling, wanting to be on the show or something. Yeah. So I answered the phone, and I believe it was a man originally from Asia, judging by his accent. And he said, hi, I'm from HR, and I just wanted to tell you that someone is attempting to purchase things on your Amazon account. We want to stop it. So will you give me your, he said, give me your Amazon account number now.
And your password.
Yeah. In the password. Yeah. And the whole thing. And I said, oh, they are? Well, I got a better way. Why don't you just cancel the account? Bang, he hung up. He didn't even say bye.
Yeah, they're no fun. I just got a text from Sarah from the Trump headquarters wanting to know if I knew about the riots in Portland.
And you responded?
Not yet.
No, I'm too old or what? I'm too old for such foolishness.
It's amazing how many calls. I mean, where these marketers get their, my wife was telling me we've got something on our home line to kind of screen out nuisance calls. I'll bet 6-7 times a day we get something that's identified as potentially spam on our home.
Yeah, I get it all the time. I get it all the time too.
So it's really not worth $6 a month to have that if you're going to do that. But anyway, talking about Fifth South, I'm sure you noticed that house was knocked down on 15th, between 15th and 16th. Doyle did that, knocked it down. They kind of drug the dirt back in from the south, and they're making those lots a little bit more resellable. I think the end game on that, we would love to see somebody come in there and put in some, office space down below and maybe apartments up above. That's kind of the long-term plan for that whole area in there. But everybody that comes into town wants to be out by the mall, and the mall's the hot spot of commercial development, has been for decades and will continue to be. You're looking at me skeptically, but I think
no, I'm not. That's just the way I always look.
But again, I did see Jensen's trailer out there on the southeast corner, so they're doing some work there where the tire store will be going in supposedly very quickly. So they did pull in a construction trailer, so I imagine you're going to see some work there and probably see some framing over the next couple of months. So that should be up and operational next spring. They have fenced off the Yonkers and J.C. Penney's area. If you get out there, it kind of looks a little, ghetto-ish, but they are in there.
There's parts of town that look pretty ghetto-ish.
You
can go a couple of blocks from here and find one.
Yeah, I got a call on that the other day. Is why are you tiffing the country club? There's other areas in town that need.
That's kind of why I followed up on the TIF story. Did you notice the Fort Dodge Messenger got a hold of that story exactly 2 weeks after I started talking about it?
That's about right.
Breaking news in the Fort Dodge Messenger.
Yeah, but anyway,
they didn't want to cover it.
Yeah, but the mall is working.
Because somebody probably at the city said, we're going to sneak this right by.
Yeah, probably somebody, above me.
Yeah,
but anyway,
they
are taking the asbestos out of the J.C. Penney building now. There's a bunch of trucks there, and they're working on that, getting the asbestos out. And once the asbestos is out, then they'll come in and start demoing. Street work is anticipated later this year or next spring to get the work done from First South down to Fifth South through the mall property. And 2nd Avenue South, I think they're calling it, is going to go through too. So that once that work's done, then you'll see some money requests coming through for their TIF at the city level. So once we get the infrastructure built, then obviously the additional buildings can start going up. And I think you're going to see a lot of work. It's not going to happen overnight. I'm thinking probably 5 years, from start to finish. We can anticipate that we're going to see improvements out there on a fairly regular basis. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. I think that'll be a good thing for the community to get some retail back, even though it may not look like what we had.
Yeah, I know. It's never going to look like that. It's a completely different time. Nevin Mulholland was saying on the air here, I remember walking down Central Avenue when I was a kid, and it was, shoulder to shoulder.
Yep, especially at Christmas time.
Window
displays.
God, I used to love Christmas time back when we had retailers.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Somehow a big Christmas tree out of Walmart doesn't do the same thing.
I remember disc jockeys sitting in the windows and doing live broadcasts.
Yeah, we did that too. Yeah. We got to go, Terry. Thank you. 3 o'clock.
Straight talk on life and money. This is the Dave Ramsey Show on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400, KVFD, Fort Dodge.
The president gets a failing grade from his challenger on Lisa Brady, Fox News. At issue, helping schools to reopen. Fox's Jared Halpern has this live.
At an event in Wilmington, Delaware, Joe Biden said President Trump is offering only failure and delusion in his response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Donald Trump and Betsy DeVos, Secretary DeVos, haven't stepped up. And we're all seeing the results. Millions of students are now starting a new school year in the same way they finished the last one, at home.
Biden says he would use federal disaster assistance to direct funding to schools to help safe reopenings and urged President Trump to negotiate with Congress on more economic relief. Biden travels to Wisconsin tomorrow with a stop in Kenosha. Lisa.
Well, Jared, President Trump visiting North Carolina.
We're running against people that have got some big issues. They've got some big problems. They're stone cold crazy, and we have to keep our country.
Addressing supporters at the airport before heading to a battleship to announce Wilmington, North Carolina, as the first World War II heritage city. Heading into Labor Day weekend, air travel is down about 75% as an industry decimated by the pandemic prepares to cut more jobs this fall.
United Airlines will furlough more than 16,000 employees, with flight attendants and pilots making up more than half of those who will be out of a job. The involuntary furloughs take effect in a month unless the airlines get more help from the federal government. President Trump promises that help is on the way. But there's no deal as of yet, and many airlines don't expect travel to rebound to pre-pandemic numbers until a vaccine is widely available.
Fox Business' Grady Trimble for United, that's fewer furloughs than initially expected. America is listening to Fox News.
So who is your wireless provider? AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile? The average person is saving $400 a year by switching to Pure Talk USA. Pure Talk is on the same network, same towers, just 50% off in terms of price. Right now, get unlimited talk, text, and 2 gigs of data for just $20 a month. Switch to Pure Talk today from your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say Pure Radio. That's pound 250, Pure Radio, Pure Talk USA, simply smarter wireless.
This is a special end-of-summer announcement from Dell. At our Labor Day sale, small businesses can save up to 50% on select business computers with Intel Core processors. We're committed to taking your business to the next level. Give our small business technology advisors a call. They'll identify the right tech solution for your business with Labor Day savings. Visit Dell.com/business deals or call us at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi just telling reporters she was set up by a San Francisco hair salon. She's been facing criticism after video of her in an area where salons are still closed and not wearing a mask. Pelosi says the salon told her it could accommodate one customer at a time. First a recount, then a tie, now a drawing to settle a small town election in western Michigan.
Tammy Jagger finished third in an August Republican primary for a trustee spot on the Holton Township Board, though ended up tying the second place candidate in a recount, which in Michigan dictates a drawing. Jagger won and now heads along with the top vote getter in the primary, Chris Thompson, to the general election this November against unopposed Democrat Matt Wildfong. Elections officials in Holton Township saying that the very rare election drawing highlights the importance of every vote. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Louisiana has a long way to go recovering from Hurricane Laura. The governor emphasizing that today as road and utility crews continue their work. More than 200,000 customers still have no power in the state, nearly 200,000 with no running water yet. A fast food giant turns to science to downplay a viral video.
A TikTok video seen by millions features a grandmother showing off a burger and fries she claims to have bought from McDonald's in 1996. Saying it hasn't decomposed.
The meat has never rotted. It's never even broken. It's completely intact.
McDonald's says the reality is that our burgers are made with 100% USDA inspected beef. There are no preservatives or fillers in our patties, adding without sufficient moisture either in the food itself or the environment, bacteria and mold may not grow, and therefore decomposition is unlikely. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Big rally on Wall Street. The Dow finishing up 454 points. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
From the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones. 34-year-old Fort Dodge resident Leon Drayton Sr. has entered guilty pleas to multiple charges stemming from an incident earlier this year. Drayton will serve up to 5 years after pleading guilty to false imprisonment, domestic abuse assault while possessing a weapon, and harassment in the first degree. On May 9th, Drayton allegedly made entry into a residence on Avenue M West here in Fort Dodge. He then allegedly assaulted a female victim, resulting in multiple injuries to her face. Police say Drayton then forced the victim into a vehicle while allegedly holding her encounter at knife point. An 8-year-old child was present during the incident and was able to hide while the initial assault took place, but then the child was forced into the vehicle by Drayton. He was given a plea deal by the Webster County Attorney's Office that dropped felony charges of burglary, kidnapping, and willful injury. Residents and business owners in 10 additional Iowa counties who suffered financial losses from the August derecho may apply for individual assistance from FEMA. Radio Iowa's OK Henderson with more.
On August 20th, Lynn County residents and businesses got the go-ahead to apply for FEMA's individual assistance. The 10 additional counties now included in the program are Benton, Boone, Cedar, Jasper, Marshall, Polk, Poweshiek, Scott, Story, and Tama counties. Renters, homeowners, and businesses in those 11 counties can apply for federal help in covering housing expenses, personal property losses, and medical bills. The original request Governor Kim Reynolds made to FEMA asked that federal individual assistance be available for residents in 16 other counties as well. But according to a statement from the governor's office, assessments in those counties indicated the level of destruction from the derecho was not significant enough to meet FEMA's thresholds. Radio Iowa, I'm OK Henderson.
Jesse Green is a candidate running for the District 24 seat in the Iowa Senate. He recently joined Divine Intervention with Mike Divine on KVFD AM 1400. Green is a farmer from the Harcourt area and talked about his background in farming.
We have an interesting operation. It's mainly corn and beans, farm with my dad and my brother. But we also raise bucking horses for rodeos and longhorn cattle for roping.
Green went on to say that he is running for office because he wants to be able to serve the public.
Well, so my entire life has been one of public service. Through that, it just developed that community mindset that to be aware of how your actions affect other people and to be a part of the solution rather than the problem.
When asked whether he was in favor of Iowa keeping Medicare privatized, Jesse Green had this to say.
I think the state has saved a little bit of money, but this whole public and private debate shouldn't be the center of the debate. It's how can we make the situation better? If it's working for other states, there's got to be a way we can make it work better for Iowans.
Jesse Green is the Republican candidate for Iowa Senate District 24 seat. He'll meet Cynthia Passion in the November election. One of Iowa high school football's oldest running rivalries will not happen this Friday. Fort Dodge was set to go on the road and take on Mason City on Friday night. However, Mason City's football program has been suspended for 2 weeks after members of the coaching staff were exposed to the COVID-19 virus. Mason City made the announcement on Tuesday to suspend football for 2 weeks. The Dodgers and the Mohawks have played over 100 times in their respective school histories. The Dodgers have won 16 in a row in the series. Fort Dodge is currently looking for an opponent at the last minute to fill the now open date they have this Friday night. That's your Alpha Media News Update from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom. I'm Rob Jones.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Daytime highs approaching 85 this afternoon under sunny skies, winds out of the west 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight, lows level off around 63. High of 77 tomorrow, clear skies and quiet. Warmer Friday and Saturday with highs from the mid 80s to the upper 80s. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 86.
Day in, day out, Iowa farmers work hard, and they deserve a senator who works as hard as they do. Senator Ernst claims she supports our ethanol industry.
I have been engaged in this, like I said, for at least a decade.
But she's taken millions from corporate PACs, including big oil companies trying to undermine ethanol. Now we learn that while Ernst has been talking tough on ethanol, she took big campaign contributions from an oil company CEO seeking RFS waivers. So it's no wonder that Ernst voted to put one of their own, a fossil fuel lobbyist, in charge of the EPA, even though he promised to continue approving RFS waivers. And sure enough, he devastated our ethanol industry. We need a senator who puts Iowa first.
I'm Teresa Greenfield, and I don't take a dime of corporate PAC money because we need a senator who works for Iowa. I'm Teresa Greenfield, running for Senate, and I approve this message. Paid for by Teresa Greenfield for Iowa.
When severe weather threatens, keep it here for the Severe Weather Advisor, brought to you by Riley Armstrong Plumbing and Heating. Plumbing emergencies don't usually happen during normal business hours, so Riley Armstrong is here for you 24/7. Call 955-2232. And the Fort Museum in Frontier Village, where history comes alive. Travel back in time and celebrate the heritage of Fort Dodge at the Fort Museum. Book your next special event at the Opera House, too. When severe weather threatens, stay with your friends on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Devine, and joining us now from Exotic Farnhamville is the erotic Mike Ewing. How you doing, Mike?
Good. I'm doing fine. And yourself?
I'm doing well. Michael Ewing has been on the radio in this area for a long, long time on other radio stations. And he is with MTE Commodities in Farnhamville, which, again, is a pretty exotic city. So what is your phone number over there at MTE Commodities?
I just was wondering, have you been to Farnhamville lately?
I have not, but I understand.
Well,
I understand. I understand Farnhamville has gone clothing optional, and I was going to ask you if you're taking advantage of that.
Well, yes and no, but see, the important part of it that is, if clothing is optional,
right,
you still have to wear a mask.
Well, I never thought of that.
Yeah,
but I it's good to know. Good to know.
Thank you. 515-544-3353.
That's right. It always sounds so much better coming from you. I don't know why it is. Yeah, Mike Ewing, MTE Commodities. So what is the buzz on the street in Farnhamville today?
The buzz on the street? Mostly flies. Some bumblebees, stuff like that.
I was kind of looking to see if anybody was combining them beans over there in your area.
Well, no, not beans, but there are some combining a little bit of corn.
Really? Already?
The guy I work for part-time wants me to come out next Tuesday. He's going to do a field to put in his grain bin at his home place to dry down.
No kidding.
Yeah.
He's putting in the bin now.
They are taking out the seed corn.
Okay.
They're picking seed corn, so.
Sure they are. Is he a dealer, or is this just for him?
What what he's taking out next Tuesday will be his field corn. He does not raise
field
seed corn. I just said that there are some other fields, seed corn fields that have been picked. So you pick seed corn, you combine field corn.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've learned something already today. Isn't it, are any beans ready over there?
No.
No beans are ready.
No, not yet.
Well, I talked to your friend Steve Peterson just the other day. You know Steve.
Yeah.
And he thinks he's going to be combining beans at least maybe in a week or two.
Yeah, they could be ready by then, sure. But around, the ones I've seen around here are still, they're turning, but they haven't dropped a lot of leaves yet. So
yeah.
In a week or two, that could be very true. As dry as it's been, and from the sound of things, as dry as it's going to continue. So
that heat is a killer.
In the forecast here, although they are, they're talking about this cold air mass coming down starting Sunday through the 10th of September, and they're talking maybe some frost freezes in northern frost like in northern Minnesota and North Dakota, then freezes possible in southern Minnesota and South Dakota.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Nothing like that down here yet, of course.
Well, no, not yet.
No. Yeah. We did have that. Maybe I talked with you about it before. We did have that disastrous Halloween ice storm here in Fort Dodge and around the area. I think in 1990, 91 in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
That was a real mess, wasn't it?
Yes, it
was. Is there going to be a market for our grain?
There's always a market for our grain. It just depends on how much they want it. Right now, China's still buying. They didn't have any sales today, but they've been buying a fair amount of U.S. beans and U.S. corn.
Didn't they buy
that should continue as they're still very, very light on trying to reach their phase 1 trade agreement commitment. But from the sources I read, They're going to be light. They have less acres over in China on corn, and they've had some flooding over there, and so their corn crop looks to be not as big as usual. Plus the fact they are increasing their hog herds as much as they can over there, which they'll need feed grain for that.
And we don't have to go this way if you don't want to go this way. But I have asked other guys I've had on the air. Depending on who's elected president here shortly.
In my opinion, yes.
Would you like to say who would be better for agriculture?
Well, in these past almost 4 years, we've seen a lot of the trade agreements changed to better the American farmer.
Well, that was Donald Trump's whole argument when he was elected the first time, is that these were giveaways,
right?
Especially
before, yeah,
yeah, especially NAFTA, and more importantly, the Trans-Pacific Partnership Act. I think he canceled that on the first week he was in office.
Right, and USMC.
USMC, yeah. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he has USMCA or E, whatever it is. I believe he has that renegotiated, and that's done. Did we renegotiate NAFTA to our satisfaction? Is that done too, or not?
Yeah, yes, as far as I know, it is. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I this is not a political opinion show, but I haven't seen anything from, and I want to see something from the Democratic Party regarding their ag trade policy or agriculture in general. That's all. I didn't hear it during the convention, and there's all kinds of things that they're going to do to us for our own good, right? But so we can be forced to think and feel and act and talk like they do. But I would really like to hear something from the state Democrats. Is that too much to ask? State of Iowa Democrats, what they would push for as far as agricultural support goes. I didn't think that was that big a deal.
Well,
apparently it is, huh?
Don't get me started.
All right, yeah, it's a good idea. I'm sorry, I shouldn't even ask, because you and I could start barking about everything here.
Yeah,
and
but,
I do.
to me, the biggest thing is what he's done with the trade between the U.S. and China. To me, that's the biggest thing that the other ones are very important also, don't get me wrong, but China to me is the biggest one because of the way they've in my opinion ripped us off all these years. And so,
do we have a different agreement now that will prevent us getting raped by the Chinese? Because I don't like to be raped by the Chinese.
Well, yes and no. The phase one trade deal is still in effect. And like I said, they are buying some decent amounts of U.S. ag products, including livestock, cattle and hogs, and corn and beans, and some sorghum. Even bought some wheat a while back from us, which is kind of unusual for them. Again, in my opinion, I think he's kind of backed them into a spot where they have to start showing, instead of promising, start showing that they're going to live up to their trade commitments.
Yeah, I would like that.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good idea. And I'd also like to see the president do something about the RINs, the RIN waivers, of course, which are a big pain in the neck to corn growers everywhere. And it's just a competitor in the fuels industry, oil, petroleum, of course, that doesn't like competition from corn farmers.
Correct.
And I wish.
Well, I remember when ethanol first kind of came on the market, years ago. I think it was the governor at that time in California said he didn't want to support any farmers in the United States. He didn't want ethanol in California at all.
I remember that, yeah, because at the time it was something about MTBs or something, And
Well,
they were a pollutant, and California's a polluted state, like corn ethanol polluted the state. I'd have to say that was the gasoline engine, Governor.
And for years they touted, I guess, I don't know for sure. This is what I heard. They touted if you put ethanol in your vehicle, it would ruin your engine.
Yeah, it did. And I used to ask mechanics back then, and they'd say, yeah, if you take the valve head off, you'll see, what looks like corn residue down there sometimes. But I believe with the newer engines now, I mean, I talked to these mechanics 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And even a little bit more than that now that I think about it. But they would say that, but the newer engines, I think, burn a little hotter, and they burn all that up now. So the whole MTB thing and the concerns about pollution and the concern about what sort of damage it might do to an engine is off the table. Decker Trucking here in town, and I don't have the study anymore, but they funded a study down at ISU to see if biodiesel could be used effectively in their over-the-road trucks. I don't remember what were the results of that study now, if Decker and other trucking companies still use biodiesel or not. But it sounded like a great idea.
Yeah.
All right, we're coming up on Labor Day weekend. Michael Ewing is going to strap on his leather and do what? I kind of left that open for you, didn't I?
The last 2 weekends I've gone for rides on the motorcycle, and I might try to get the boat out this coming weekend. We have a full day of markets on Friday, and then, of course, Monday, everything is closed until grains open at 7 p.m. Monday night.
Right.
The livestock won't open until 8:30 a.m. on Tuesday.
Okay. Do you have a website? Does MTE Commodities have a website?
No.
Okay. You're not into the 20th century yet, then?
Not in that aspect.
I should have said 21st century, but okay.
No, I don't have a website, no.
You don't have a website? Do you have a Facebook page?
Me personally, yes.
But you don't have a Facebook page for your business?
No.
No, that's okay. I forgive you.
Well, thank
you. You were just waiting for that, weren't you? I needed your forgiveness, please.
Yeah, I'm so relieved now. I feel so divine that I've been forgiven.
Yes, that's right. That's the old Catholic in me, Ewing. I keep wanting to have everybody make the sign of the cross and go with God and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway. So anything else we need to know there, Mr. Ewing?
Well, just that we won't be on Friday. Is that correct?
That's correct. We won't be.
So this time I just want to wish everybody a nice, safe holiday weekend and go enjoy the weather.
I think we will do that because that's just the kind of people we are. All right. Mike Ewing of MTE Commodities in the exotic town of Farnhamville. And give us your phone number again there, Mike.
515-544-3353.
Thank you, Michael, as always.
You bet.
Michael
This is
Devine
AM 1400
with
KBS.
breaking news and stimulating talk.
It's 3:24.
Every great sandwich should start with a great bread, which is why Village Hearth bakes their breads the old-fashioned way. With toasted whole grains and natural sweeteners, only the best stuff to fuel you and your family. So whether it's a PB&J on light Italian or an avocado and tomato on toasted pumpernickel rye, Village Hearth has a delicious, nutritious bread to build it on. Village Hearth bread. How do you sandwich?
Prioritizing fields with Harvest. Hello, I'm Megan Grebner, and this is Managing for Profit on Brownfield, a content partnership with Channel Seed. Having a plan heading into harvest can be extremely beneficial. A channel agronomist says if farmers want to maximize the bushels harvested, they need to evaluate plant health in each field. And this Managing for Profit, Matt Nelson details what farmers need to watch for this time of year. We'll find out more on Brownfield right after this.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
An agronomist with Channel Seed says heading into harvest, farmers should take some time to evaluate crop health and start to plan. Matt Nelson says there are a couple of easy ways for farmers to evaluate fields.
The push and pinch tests are some of the best options we have to evaluate how our crop is standing. These two are specifically in corn. I usually encourage people to find 5 representative parts of the field, so not the worst or the best looking areas, and count out 20 plants in a row and start to push those plants over to 45-degree angle from waist height, essentially. And what we're looking for is the percentage of plants that snap and fall off when you do that test. What we're looking for is plants that actually break off. And if we're over 15% failing, we may be looking at some severe stalk lodging issues if a windstorm would happen to blow through before you get to harvest. And that could result in significant yield loss if those plants end up on the ground. They may be impossible to harvest. So that's one way we can really encourage people to prioritize a field, is by going out and doing a push test or a pinch test if you think you had some stalk diseases like anthracnose or crown rot in that field during the growing season.
Anthracnose stalk rot is one of the most prevalent stalk diseases in North America.
In general, though, it's a disease that we don't really know the presence of or the pressure of until we get into harvest. Most farmers, in fact, probably won't catch it until they're out harvesting. If you think about the growing conditions that we had this year, high temperatures, lots of plant stress, in some cases, excessive rainfall, and that rainfall leading to something like nitrogen or other nutrient deficiency, those can all help weaken stalks. And a weakened stalk is one where anthracnose will move in a little bit easier than a normal growing season. In terms of managing that, the best option is to plant a hybrid that has more resistance to it. And then those are fields at harvest we're going to want to consider harvesting first if we're trying to prioritize harvest order.
Nelson says farmers should take advantage of the Channel Field Checkup series.
And a seedsman can come out, they can do yield checks, they can just kind of give you a general assessment of how the year went in that field. And that's something, after you get your harvest data, then these checkups kind of help tell a better story and give you more information about what happened in that field and how the products they selected performed, as well as how the environment affected the story of yield on your farm.
Always read and follow IRM where applicable, grain marketing, and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions. I'm Megan Grebner with Managing for Profit on Brownfield, a content partnership with Channel Seed.
Capital One checking and savings accounts have no fees or minimums, and a top-rated banking app that lets you manage your money anytime, anywhere, even from your favorite hiking trail. With Capital One's app, you can check your balance, deposit checks, pay bills, and transfer money from wherever you are, anytime you want, even when you're cooking dinner. Open a fee-free checking or savings account online in about 5 minutes. This is banking reimagined. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Here's great news. Studies show that including lean pork in your diet can help you lose weight while maintaining more muscle. We're talking lean, strong muscle. Eating lean pork helps you feel fuller longer after you eat, and it gives your body the high-quality protein it needs. Celebrate your success with a tasty and healthy pork dish. Find great pork recipes and cooking tips at pork.org/cooking.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
From the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones. 34-year-old Fort Dodge resident Leon Drayton Sr. has entered guilty pleas to multiple charges stemming from an incident earlier this year. Drayton will serve up to 5 years after pleading guilty to false imprisonment, domestic abuse assault while possessing a weapon, and harassment in the first degree. On May 9th, Drayton allegedly made entry into a residence on Avenue M West here in Fort Dodge. He then allegedly assaulted a female victim, resulting in multiple injuries to her face. Police say Drayton then forced the victim into a vehicle while allegedly holding her at knife point. An 8-year-old child was present during the incident and was able to hide while the initial assault took place, but then the child was forced into the vehicle by Drayton. He was given a plea deal by the Webster County Attorney's Office that dropped felony charges of burglary, kidnapping, and willful injury. Residents and business owners in 10 additional Iowa counties who suffered financial losses from the August derecho may apply for individual assistance from FEMA. Radio Iowa's OK Henderson with more.
On August 20th, Lynn County residents and businesses got the go-ahead to apply for FEMA's individual assistance. The 10 additional counties now included in the program are Benton, Boone, Cedar, Jasper, Marshall, Polk, Poweshiek, Scott, Story, and Tama counties. Renters, homeowners, and businesses in those 11 counties can apply for federal help in covering housing expenses, personal property losses, and medical bills. The original request Governor Kim Reynolds made to FEMA asked that federal individual assistance be available for residents in 16 other counties as well. But according to a statement from the governor's office, assessments in those counties indicated the level of destruction from the derecho was not significant enough to meet FEMA's thresholds. Radio Iowa, I'm OK Henderson.
Jesse Green is a candidate running for the District 24 seat in the Iowa Senate. He recently joined Divine Intervention with Mike Divine on KBFD AM 1400. Green is a farmer from the Harcourt area and talked about his background in farming.
We have an interesting operation. It's mainly corn and beans, farm with my dad and my brother. But we also raise bucking horses for rodeos and longhorn cattle for roping.
Green went on to say that he is running for office because he wants to be able to serve the public.
Well, so my entire life has been one of public service. Through that, it just developed that community mindset that to be aware of how your actions affect other people and to be a part of the solution rather than the problem.
When asked whether he was in favor of Iowa keeping Medicare privatized, Jesse Green had this to say.
I think the state has saved a little bit of money, but this whole public and private debate shouldn't be the center of the debate. It's how can we make the situation better? If it's working for other states, there's got to be a way we can make it work better for Iowans.
Jesse Green is the Republican candidate for Iowa Senate District 24 seat. He'll meet Cynthia Passion in the November election. One of Iowa high school football's oldest running rivalries will not happen this Friday. Fort Dodge was set to go on the road and take on Mason City on Friday night. However, Mason City's football program has been suspended for 2 weeks after members of the coaching staff were exposed to the COVID-19 virus. Mason City made the announcement on Tuesday to suspend football for 2 weeks. The Dodgers and the Mohawks have played over 100 times in their respective school histories. The Dodgers have won 16 in a row in the series. Fort Dodge is currently looking for an opponent at the last minute to fill the now open date they have this Friday night. That's your Alpha Media News Update from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom. I'm Rob Jones.
Here's the AM 1400 KBFD weatherology forecast. Daytime highs approaching 85 this afternoon under sunny skies, winds out of the west 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight, lows level off around 63. High of 77 tomorrow, clear skies and quiet. Warmer Friday and Saturday with highs from the mid 80s to the upper 80s. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 88.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. September corn up a quarter penny at $3.49 3/4. December up 3/4 at $3.58 3/4. March up 1 1/2 at $3.69 1/4. May corn up 1 1/4 at $3.75 3/4. September soybeans up 7 1/2 at $9.62 1/2. November up 7 1/4 at $9.62. January up 7 1/4 at $9.68 1/4. March up 8 cents at $8.69 3/4. September wheat down 8 cents at $5.47 3/4. Soybean meal down 50 cents a ton at $3.0230. October live cattle down $1 at $104.47. December down 70 cents at $108.45. September feeder cattle down $1.42 at $138.70. October down $1.20 at $139.45. October lean hogs up $137 at $56.40. December up $72 at $56.50. I'm Dwayne Murley.
Counting your carbohydrates in food. I'm Julie Harker, and this is Healthy Living on Brownfield. Lindsay Cabot is a graduate student intern with the University of Illinois and says carb counting is very important for patients with diabetes.
People with diabetes have trouble putting the glucose into their cells for energy, either from lack of insulin or resistance from the cell, or both. Counting carbohydrates, it's a great meal planning tool that we can use to prevent those highs and lows in our blood glucose and keep those levels stable.
Cabot says carbs are a macronutrient and give the body energy. There's an exchange list people can follow, but also the nutrition facts label on foods, which point out the very important serving sizes.
This is where a lot of people can get into trouble because they don't pay attention to the serving size. For this particular food, I think it's soup. It's about 2/3 of a cup. So let's say if you're really hungry and you want that big old bowl of soup and you pour 2 servings, well, you just gave yourself 74 grams of carbohydrate. And that's, I'm not sure what your doctor or dietitian told you to take, but 74 is quite a bit for one meal, especially if you have anything else maybe to go with it.
There's also the diabetic exchange list, which assigns a number to every food with carbs, which people can track. She says neither method is meant to be a complete substitute for your doctor's recommendations. I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
My mother was always very active and independent, and she was familiar with her neighborhood. But one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. She wasn't even really sure where she was at.
It's important for you to talk to someone about it. I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, we'll figure it out.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. September corn up a quarter penny at 3.49 3/4. December up 3/4 at 3.58 3/4. March up 1 1/2 at 3.69 1/4. May corn up 1 1/4 at 3.75 3/4. September soybeans up 7 1/2 at 9.62 1/2. November up 7 1/4 at 9.62. At 9.68 1/4. March up 8 cents at 8.69 3/4. September wheat down 8 cents at 5.47 3/4. Soybean meal down 50 cents a ton at 3.0230. October live cattle down $1 at 104.47. December down 70 cents at 108.45. September feeder cattle down 142 at 138.70. October down 120 at 139.45. October lean hogs up 137 at 56.40. December up 72 at 56.50. I'm Dwayne Murley.
Michael Devine with breaking news and stimulating talk.
That's right. Breaking news, stimulating talk. That's what I'm all about, certainly. How about you? Jeff Halder is here. He's ready to break news. Woo! What's with the Broncos thing you got going on?
Oh, so yeah, it's just my lanyard that has my school ID and keys on it.
You a Broncos fan?
Yeah, go Broncos.
No kidding.
Yeah, so got about 12 days until they kick off on Monday night.
Are they going to have a full season? The
Absolutely.
NFL?
Absolutely.
They are.
Yeah.
There's a bummer about Fort Dodge Senior High. I mean, they're all set to play Mason City, then Mason City canceled because of COVID.
Yeah, and it's good that they have those precautions in place, and someone tests positive on the team, then the whole team's done for a couple weeks, and hopefully Mason City can carry on their season later.
You grew up in Iowa City.
I did.
Did the University of Iowa jump too soon? Did the Big Ten jump too soon?
I don't think it was I don't think the decision was left up to those at the University of Iowa. I feel that
I guess Bruce Harrell did say he voted to keep the season.
Yeah,
going.
Big Ten took that away.
Yeah.
Which I think is the same reason that you're going to see the unfortunate fall of several other athletic programs, not just at Iowa, though you're just seeing those first. But you're going to see a dramatic fall in athletic programs in Big Ten universities, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Well, they already cut swimming permanently. And guess who has a son on the swimming team?
Yeah, our city manager, David Fierk.
David Fierk. That's real crap.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I feel bad. I don't really have an answer.
Yeah, I don't have one.
There's a lot of discussion about budgets, and it sounds like there's some more information coming out in regards to University of Iowa. It just sounds like they really mismanaged a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they have huge budget deficits. It sounds like whether football would have occurred or not, they were having some budget deficits. And so that's
some people are wondering about this Big Ten commissioner too. First year in, and he's canceling the season.
Yeah, while the son plays football at Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I believe in my dictionary that's called a hypocrite.
So he cancels the Big Ten.
Right, but isn't making his kid come home, right?
Charge. Yeah, he's not making his kid come home.
Why? Because he's an adult and he can make his own decisions?
Yeah, I suppose that.
Probably.
What is that guy's name? Kevin something, isn't it?
Warren. Isn't it Warren something?
Yeah, there it is. Kevin Warren.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, we don't like him. We just don't like him. So anyway, Jeff Halter is here. I see the St. Edmund kids were across the street.
Yeah, it looked like middle school football out there.
Yeah.
Full padded up today.
Did you jump the fence and show them a couple of moves? You're an old tight end, aren't you?
No, I was a center and guard, but
oh, you were. I thought you were a receiver.
No.
You're kind of small for a center.
Yeah, I was feisty though.
You were feisty. I'm sure you were.
Yeah. You remember you had the newspaper, man.
I did have it. Yeah, you were all
Iowa,
all
elite.
Iowa.
Yeah, offensive lineman. So
no offensive line.
Yep. And then I played 4 years at Wartburg and started for 3. So as a guard there, left guard.
Well, I asked you one time, being from Iowa City, why you went to Wartburg, and I think you said something about being too small.
Yeah.
Most of the centers and guards I see in the Big Ten are enormous dudes. You know?
Yeah, I mean, under 6 foot's going to be tough to get a D1 scholarship anyway. Considered walking on.
But you got Wartburg, right? I mean, you got a scholarship to Wartburg.
Yeah, I mean, private schools do it different, but yep.
Yeah,
it was cheaper for me to go to Wartburg than it would have been to go to Iowa as a student. So
Waverly's a nice town.
Yeah, it's a great town. I love it.
I thought it was.
It's even better than when.
Where did you meet your wife? How'd you get to Fort Dodge?
Oh, my wife? Oh, we met when we were both teachers in Las Vegas, and we met at a teacher conference in North Carolina. Yeah, small world, huh?
You were teaching in Las Vegas, and you met at a conference in North Carolina?
Yep. That's the story, man. I'm sticking to it.
Well, no, I believe you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's a short version. There's a long version, but we'll save that for later. Eh?
Yeah. Menke was just in here a little bit earlier.
Yeah, what were you guys talking about? I missed it.
He just, Menke talks about a lot of things. He felt for some reason, I think the TIF thing is over. I mean, you and I have talked about it. Me and Fierk have talked about it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a done deal, man.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I think Menke had to come in and explain it to me because I initially was suspicious of TIF being used in this manner with $250,000.
Yeah, I got a call yesterday from a lady who just wanted to thank me for my position, and after reading the article Monday. So,
well, I told Menke, the council, the mayor, and the city manager could do themselves a favor rather than just have a council meeting say, "Okay, we're going to do this." That they explain it a little bit before, that they give a heads up on the radio, or even I don't know if going to the newspaper is worth it. But a little heads up, because I just have
no bias there, right?
No, well, there is bias because I think the messenger prints only what is told to print.
And I think that we can only we can always communicate better, and we can always put more information out there. A lot of the information's online, and so if that's not where you're going to look or to dig it up or to do research, then it just may be that you're not seeing it. So
yeah. Well, that could be. I don't go on. I'm not much for going to the city council website or City of Fort Dodge website, or a Facebook page, either one. And maybe I could find out more if I went there. I guess I just depend. I see enough councilmen and city people that I just assume that they would mention it.
Yeah, and I've been advocating for, I don't know, probably 5 years for a full-time public relations person for the city, so that you can improve communication throughout. And we've gotten there. We got a person that kind of does it part-time. It's part of their job duties.
Sure.
But I think that I've just always felt that if that full-time position is truly what we need to be able to best communicate with our community. And so, yeah.
But you've been slapped down once again, I take it.
Well, we went from not having anyone that has that responsibility to having someone that at least spends, I think it's 25% or 30% of their day doing that. So,
well, that's probably enough. I mean, who's media in Fort Dodge anyway? That would be this radio station group and the newspaper.
Like, for example, the school district has their own public relations person.
Right.
And I think that's why you see such good communication from the school district that you may not have seen 5 years ago. And Jennifer Lane over there does a great job. And so I just would feel like we could do the same.
Ulrich's done a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think so. For a guy just coming in and having to right away respond to a pandemic. It's got to be
pandemic
tough.
And Duncombe School falling down. And
Actually,
that was probably kind of taken care of by the time.
For the most part.
Yeah,
it was all. That school was open, I believe, by the time he came, the new Duncombe. But
yeah. So, what do you see happening in the city as far as the Crossroads Mall is concerned?
Well, I think it's going to be a great program, great project, and which is why I did support using TIF for that. I've never heard anyone. I've yet to hear anyone say that they loved and embraced our mall and didn't want to see any improvements to it.
It was getting to be an older mall.
Yeah, so I like to believe that that the community is happy that it's going to happen. I think it's going to look beautiful. And I think it's going to, with that lawn area and lawn space, I think that it can potentially provide opportunity to bring some entertainment into that area as well. And so I think it could be a really cool thing. It's somewhere I could see maybe Ragbri setting up, in the future. Obviously not next year when Ragbri comes through town, but maybe later down the road.
I tell you, if you want to see as well as hear what happens in this radio station, you can go to my Facebook page, which is at AM 1400 KBFD. I believe it's on my regular old Facebook page. That's at AM 1400, or excuse me, that's just at Michael Devine. And if you have a question or comment for Councilman Halder, it's 515-955-1400. You'll see Jeff there with his Iowa Central mask on. He's all into the cowboy thing. When are we going to be over this cowboy thing? I find myself
not soon enough, man.
Really, isn't that
probably the answer? Not soon enough. So, yeah, I'm. My job is I want to try to do everything I can so that I can be sure to be there. Jeez, you sound terrible, man.
I don't have cowboy, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, my whole goal is I just want to, do everything I can so that I can continue to go to work every day and serve the students at Iowa Central that I work with. And so I try to just take care of everything I can to make sure that I can continue to do that every day.
I always have to tell people when I start this, I start coughing in restaurants or something.
Right.
I got to just stand up and make an announcement. This is 40 years of Lucky Strike cigarettes. This is not the Covoid thing. I don't have it.
So, well, that's good. You don't go anywhere other than here, right?
No, I go here, home, grocery store, maybe a restaurant or two, but
yeah,
I don't. Well, I guess I went down to Cedar Rapids last week, and that town's a mess, by the way.
Jeez, I haven't even been there. I mean, I haven't been that way. Have no reason to now.
Yeah.
Normally I'd be going to Iowa City every weekend. There's a home game, but
yeah,
no reason to do that.
Do you go every?
Typically, most all home games. Yeah, especially the Big Ten home games. I usually always make all those.
Where do you get tickets? You got somebody that gets
I got a friend.
Yeah, I thought you probably did. If you're gonna get good tickets, you got to have a friend.
Yeah, and he's got the connections.
Well, and that's cool.
That's what it takes, unfortunately.
It is. I had a friend I was in high school with. I got tickets one year. I paid for them, but he didn't want to use them. But he's one of those guys that went down to Iowa City and just stayed there, never came home.
Yeah,
and he's had tickets all these years, and he sold them to me one year, which was great.
Yeah, I don't think I could handle living there now as an adult.
Why?
I just don't agree with their policies and
what
decisions.
Do you mean, the city
that
of
they
Iowa
make.
City?
Yep.
Well, they're a liberal university town. I mean, it's going to work out that way.
Yeah.
I mean, they have these ongoing processes where apparently they're going to be without police and in complete support of rioters.
Well, yeah, and I mean, even well before that, they just feel like, they always want to claim that they're a progressive town, but have done nothing to, or very little in the name of progress.
Well,
they let everything go to North Liberty. They let everything go to Coralville because they have their saving grace, which is the university.
Yeah, it is.
And,
well, that Van Mauer store went to Coralville all those years ago because of TIF.
Yeah.
They TIF'd it down there 6 miles.
So did all kinds of housing developments. So did all kinds of other businesses. I mean, all the growth went away from Iowa City and even into North Liberty.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had to add high schools to that area of Johnson County, and Iowa City is still just running its old high schools it's had since, turn of the century in the 1970s.
I think the TIF deal was supposedly to bring Van Mauer to Coralville so they could build that Clear Creek Amana school over there. I've been in the Clear Creek.
That's a nice school too.
Really nice school. My son, my grandson's 9. He's a wrestling stud. At least he thinks he is.
And again, that's the direction that everything went. Was west and northwest, and
to North Liberty. You think so?
Yeah, I mean, North Liberty's grown, and Tiffin has grown. Probably more probably more per capita than Iowa City, but
I went through West Liberty not long ago. That town doesn't look like it's growing at all.
West Liberty?
West Liberty is kind of
not.
a toast. It's kind of a toast
Probably
town.
not.
All right. Can you move down there just a little bit, Jeff? We got to get you on camera here. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. We got to move some of these things.
Woo! There. Now we can kind of see me.
Yeah. Is my microphone in the way?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's not live.
No, well, it's pretty close. It's coming to you.
See? Lagging a bit. Okay. So yeah.
Here's my hand in the camera now. So
there was a cool. I probably won't want to talk about that. I'll save that for Mark Campbell, who's on next. But that cool event they had on Saturday, I missed it. But you can ask
cool
him
event
about
Saturday.
That they did. And they're gonna have another one. Well, you can ask Mark about it when he comes in. I don't need to steal his thunder. But yeah, I missed it. I was working all weekend in my office. Nothing exciting.
You can't steal Mark's thunder.
Yeah,
it's impossible. Yeah, Mark has so many admirable qualities and achievements that he stands alone.
Mark is thunder, and I'll be lightning.
That's right. I did see Mark at an unusual place last week, though.
Did you?
Right, the Ann Meyer Republican gathering down at the Apple Orchard.
Uh-oh.
That's what I thought. Mark's in a Republican place.
They're going to take his blue card away, are they?
They might.
They might.
I don't think they will. No, Mark's just one of those guys.
Well, and when did it become such an issue? When did everything become such an issue that Democrats and Republicans can't have conversations anymore?
See, that'd be a reason probably not to live in Iowa City or a town like that where there's all these hyper involved people, university people are going to be.
I would almost say vigilant.
Vigilant, crazier than hell, because I get the Iowa City Press Citizen online,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, it's always something that they're moving in this direction or moving in that direction. And we need to defund the police.
And they move about as fast as a turtle with 4 broken legs.
Well, here's the deal. They're going to defund the police and reassign some of the assets that the police don't use to better the minority communities. Okay, so there's a couple of letters to the
police
editor.
Department's had issues for decades that probably have need to be addressed.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they wrote me a ticket not long ago. So
I think there was just an article in the Press Citizen about the disproportionate amount of minorities that they tend to arrest as well.
Iowa City wanted to open their arms to a lot of people from the Chicago area. Mm-hmm. They got them there, and guess what happened?
Yeah.
There were nice little white kids from all over these little towns in Iowa got the hell beat out of them and robbed by some of the denizens of the projects in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not feeling too sorry for Iowa City. They want to go here. Here's this is what I found. They want to defund the police department. There's a couple letters to the editors, and a couple of people show up at the council meetings. What do you mean you're going to defund the police department? Oh, we're not going to defund the police department. Then the next week they are, and then they're moving in the direction of. These people are under such pressure and they cannot deal with it at all.
Yeah, it's gotta be. It's tough, man. It's not easy. I mean, as a council member here, that you're never going to satisfy everyone, and there's always going to be those who are strongly opposed to whatever your position is.
Always.
And so you just have to do what you think is right and do what you can from your heart and hope that everything else, that the decisions that you make work in the manner that you hope that they did. And if they don't, what we don't do enough as politicians is admit we're wrong.
Yeah.
And it's okay for politicians to change their mind, people. And maybe that's part of the problem is we got to stop ridiculing politicians when they flip-flop on an issue, because that's their opportunity to change their mind or admit that their previous position was wrong. And instead, what do? We ridicule them about it.
Ripping into political people has become blood sport on social media. That.
Yeah, it's amazing that anyone even wants to run for politics anymore.
Really. It's not a secret that a lot of crime comes from minority communities. Is there something that can be done about that? Have you ever thought about that? I have.
Well, I think that that crime is proportionate regardless of what race or ethnicity people are.
You don't think that minority communities are responsible for more crime?
No, not proportionately. No.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I think that I think where you would see larger increases in crime would be areas where poverty has its negative impacts.
Exactly. Well, that's the problem in Fort Dodge. A lot of our black people are poor.
Well, there's a lot of people that are just poor.
You're right. Fort Dodge is a poor town.
If 2 out of 3 of our families that have kids attend schools are on free or reduced lunch.
Yeah,
that's an issue, right?
That is an issue. Yeah, we're a poor town. I get that.
We're also a town that has a lot of wealth.
Yes, well, that's every town in the country.
Yeah.
That's what both parties are about, Jeff. They're not really trying to help the oppressed. They want to give lip service to it and keep the money. There it is. Jeff, it's great to talk to you.
Yeah, you too, man.
There was something else I wanted to talk to you about, but we
we ran out of time.
We ran out of time.
Well, have a good week, everybody. Be safe, spread kindness. Watch out for those kids traveling to and from school.
Yeah, all right. That's good advice. This is AM 1400 KBFD.
My kids' safety is my #1 priority. I always play it safe and sound when electricity is around.
My mom taught me to play it safe.
To be sure your little one avoids any shocking accidents, install ground fault circuit interrupters where electronics may accidentally come in contact with water, and child-proof your outlets.
What about outside?
You're right. Teach your children to come indoors when thunder roars, and never play on trees near power lines. Always look up.
Let's stay safe together.
Iowa's locally owned electric cooperatives want you to be safe and alert in your home.
Could you or someone you know use help covering your Medicare premiums? Would you like to speak with someone about lowering your Medicare prescription costs? If you receive Medicare, there are Medicare savings programs available to help. These programs can assist with paying premiums, deductibles, copays, and can even cover prescriptions. To learn more, contact Lifelong Links at 866-468-7887. Again, that's 866-468-7887.
This message from the Iowa Department of Aging is supported by a grant from the U.S. Administration for Community Living.
All right, this is AM 1400 KBFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. I've always had a theory. I've told you folks about it on the radio several times. If everybody had a decent place to live, if everybody had enough food, if everybody had hope for the future, there would be so much less conflict in the world. But we're just not going to do it with the two-party system. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Mark Campbell, County Supervisor, coming up. This is AM 1400 KBFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
This is Dave Graveline. Be sure to listen to Into Tomorrow right here on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD, Fort Dodge.
Sending a message to the White House. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Joe Biden urging the president to get off Twitter and negotiate a deal with Congress for more coronavirus relief. This during another event in Wilmington, not far from Biden's home.
I would like to get out more, but I think a president has the responsibility to set examples, set the right example for how to get out.
Also defending a decision to visit Kenosha, Wisconsin tomorrow after criticizing the president's trip to the city where riots followed a police shooting this week. Biden says he's had many requests to go for healing. The main focus of today's event was accusing the president of failing to give schools enough help to reopen. The president tweeting earlier that Biden won't be able to hold back the far left on multiple issues if elected, as he hit the road again visiting the battleground state of North Carolina.
We're not ashamed of our country. We're proud of our country, prouder than we are of anything else. Our country is great, and we're going to keep it that way.
Announcing in the port city of Wilmington as the first World War II heritage city in the U.S. on the 75th anniversary of the end of the war. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi defending her trip to a hair salon in San Francisco, where salons are still closed, except for outdoor styling services. Pelosi telling reporters she takes responsibility for trusting the salon.
When they said, well, we're able to accommodate people one person at a time, and that we can set up that time, I trusted that. As it turns out, it was a setup.
Pelosi also says she always has a mask, but wasn't wearing it on closed-circuit camera footage in the salon because her hair had just been washed. The salon owner says Pelosi's staff set up the appointment with a stylist who rents a chair there. Uncertainty breeds pessimism in the Fed's latest survey of economic activity, finding modest gains in August, but continued concern about pandemic impacts. Stocks are soaring, though, the Dow closing over 29K. America is listening to Fox News.
So who is your wireless provider? AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile? The average person is saving $400 a year by switching to Pure Talk USA. Pure Talk is on the same network, same towers, just 50% off in terms of price. Right now, get unlimited talk, text, and 2 gigs of data for just $20 a month. Switch to Pure Talk today. Now, from your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say Pure Radio. That's pound 250, Pure Radio, Pure Talk USA. Simply smarter wireless.
This is a special end of summer announcement from Dell. At our Labor Day sale, small businesses can save up to 50% on select business computers with Intel Core processors. We're committed to taking your business to the next level. Give our small business technology advisors a call. They'll identify the right tech solution for your business with Labor Day savings. Visit Dell.com/business deals or call us at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
The House Oversight Committee has subpoenaed Postmaster General Louis DeJoy for records about widespread delays to mail delivery. Democrats say DeJoy has not sufficiently answered the committee's requests for information as a follow-up to his recent congressional testimony. DeJoy has said election mail is his number one priority. The travel industry still reeling from a pandemic-driven slump.
United Airlines says that it's slashing over 16,000 jobs when federal aid runs out this fall. The cuts are involuntary furloughs, meaning workers can be called back if demand resumes. Overall, U.S. Airlines have already shed around 50,000 jobs this year through the end of June. And the job cuts don't stop with the airline industry. The coronavirus is also affecting U.S. passenger railroad Amtrak, which will furlough more than 2,000 workers beginning next month.
Fox's Hillary Barsky. Amtrak says ridership
seat. He'll meet Cynthia Passion in the November election. One of Iowa high school football's oldest running rivalries will not happen this Friday. Fort Dodge was set to go on the road and take on Mason City on Friday night. However, Mason City's football program has been suspended for 2 weeks after members of the coaching staff were exposed to the COVID-19 virus. Mason City made the announcement on Tuesday to suspend football for 2 weeks. The Dodgers and the Mohawks have played over 100 times in their respective school histories. The Dodgers have won 16 in a row in the series. Fort Dodge is currently looking for an opponent at the last minute to fill the now open date they have this Friday night. That's your Alpha Media News Update from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom. I'm Rob Jones.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Daytime highs approaching 85 this afternoon under sunny skies, winds out of the west 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight, lows level off around 63, high of 77 tomorrow, clear skies and quiet. Warmer Friday and Saturday with highs from the mid 80s to the upper 80s. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 88.
Paint? No, Paramount isn't just paint. It's the #1 paint in overall interior hide and stain resistance, providing the most advanced protection in just one coat. And now you can get that same outstanding protection with our new Paramount One Coat White. This first-of-its-kind one-coat ready mix white provides a beautiful white finish. You'll find Paramount paint exclusively at Menards. In third-party tests, interior paint claims versus super premium home center brands in eggshell sheen.
Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Savings or mail-in rebate. See store for details.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Listen to this.
Making radio great again.
Well, if Trump loses the election, I'll have to find some other tagline, I guess, on those things. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea, and it gives me a headache thinking about it. So let's talk to Mark Campbell, who's county supervisor. Hi, Mark.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Do you have any predictions? No. I'm sorry I asked. I beg your pardon. I don't want to go there.
Nope.
I just don't want to go there. It's just been a crazy year, and this is just part of it. Is Supervisor Denclaw going to show up, you think?
He might. He sent me a text message saying he'd show up. So, Keith, if you're out there, you know where the door is?
You know where the door is, yeah.
Yep.
I can't get up and come to the back door now, Keith, because we're already on the air, but yeah.
We could just harass him until he shows up. You know?
Well, we could, but, Keith is such a good-natured guy, you can't really harass him. What are you going to say about it?
Live the life of Keith.
Live the life of
there
Keith.
You go.
I don't have the stamina. I can't do it. I just never. Keith is actually pretty close to my age, and
he's very.
He can do things at this age I couldn't do when he was.
Well, tomorrow he's doing the Growth Alliance golf outing in the afternoon, and then he is doing the county wellness bike ride at that evening.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I mean, the guy, he is involved and truly a part of the community. So, yeah.
What's going on at Amigos this weekend? Is there
this weekend? No, next weekend. What do we have next weekend?
Don't you have the big screen this weekend?
The game is next weekend. We'll be doing the tailgate party next weekend for the Iowa State. We're going to bring in an outdoor TV so we can watch it outside. And following weekend golf outing, and then
You don't do the Amigos cruises anymore, though.
No, we haven't done cruises since Chris Ann got out of travel. So
she's out of it all the way.
Yep.
Okay.
She is full-time Thrive.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
So what's going on over at the county?
We had a lot going on. We had a busy week. The clock tower still continues. Progress is being made there. They're doing an amazing job. Jamie Joel, our new county engineer, and the secondary roads crew are out working on roads, pulling shoulders back, getting gravel down, stockpiling gravel. So a lot of things there. We had a unanimous vote. I hope you saw that we applied to a new mental health region.
Outstanding.
We are very excited about this to finally get some services in Webster County that we need and have been paying for a long time. So
badly need.
We hope we get accepted. There is, a process that you have to go through, and we've applied to them, met with them, and they're absolutely, I think, what we want. Like I said, it was unanimous, so we're very excited, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, well, I hope that we badly need mental health in this area.
We do, and we have amazing providers. We just need to make sure those providers are getting paid for what they do. So that's why we're looking at a different region. And
yeah. Well, our area is becoming more rural. And I have a little personal theory, I mean, based on my reading and my own opinion, of course, that poverty, drug use equal mental health problems, big time mental health problems. I don't think that's too controversial. But we've had a lot of that going on. Over in my neighborhood, I get guys 35 years old on bicycles walking, driving around like in their eyes or somewhere else.
Yeah. Yep. The definition of mental health has definitely changed over the years. And, a lot of people don't want to ask for help. So,
they don't.
And we need to get rid of that stigma. And we need to make sure people are comfortable reaching out and asking and getting the access and quality of care they need.
Some people are worried about being locked up, but as you just said, that's not always the case. I don't think that's the first choice at all.
Nope.
If you can function without patient service, terrific.
Yep.
If you can get better or feeling better without patient service, why would
there are a lot of services out there that don't require medical treatment, as you and I both know. So we just need to get people in the door. Sometimes we just need to get people to know that they're not alone, and that there are people willing to help. So
it's not NCARF anymore. It's
CFR.
CFR, right?
Yep.
It hasn't been NCARF in a long time.
You are definitely dating yourself.
Oh, well, wait till I start talking about Big Bear on Highway 20. Or let's go out to Dusty's Corral. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I assume that is or state.
CFR is they do get a federal grant, SAMHSA grant.
Federal.
Yep, they get a SAMHSA grant. It comes through state public health, and a lot of services can be done and paid for with that.
Okay, outstanding. I was surprised the amount of TIF projects that go on in our town. Now you're a county guy.
County, yep.
So does the county use TIF much?
Yes, we
do.
We don't use it much. Obviously, the city has more growth than the county. TIF is an amazing tool. It's really the only tool the county and the city has for economic development. It's changed and evolved over the years in respects to people think it can go on forever. It cannot. And TIF, only exists when it's not like you can go in and TIF a pre-existing project. TIF only exists with growth. So the ag park, it had a baseline property tax value. When the companies came in and started building and increased the value, TIF is that incremental increase. So we utilize that increase to continue the expansions and growth at the ag park. It can only be utilized with that project or within that urban, not part of an urban renewal area, the same urban renewal area.
Have you been satisfied with the progress out at the Iowa Crossroads of Global Innovation?
Iowa's Crossroads of Global Innovation, better known as the Ag Park.
Ag Park, yeah.
Ag Park.
I don't get to say that. Kelly Halstead will be over here beating me
I'm
up,
sure I'll
so.
get a text here in a minute. So, obviously we want to see more growth in any of our areas of operations or employment. Cargill and CJ both have continued to invest. In the last couple of years, Cargill has invested in $8 million just in a steam plant. And those are things.
Steam plant. Are they going to use steam heat?
CJ uses steam for their processing.
Okay.
So, we just had a meeting with them last week about this very conversation, and we'd love to see new bricks and mortar, but the fact is they're still retrofitting that plant to accommodate new processes that they've come up with. So there is continued investment going on out there. CJ added a second line last year. But we're in the same boat as you are. We'd like to see more bricks and mortar, more jobs. So we're going to continue to work with Cargill, CJ, and Valero. They're all great partners. Poet down by Gowery, they're all extremely good partners. And we're going to figure out ways to make either the ag park or the county more tractable by lowering the overhead for people. And you do that with TIF and other options.
What can the county board of supervisors do to get more rain here?
Yeah.
Sometime we become a little overly dependent on public officials. So I thought,
but it's a dry one.
It is a dry one. Do you have farmland? I know you live out in the country. You do have farmland.
Yep, we have a little bit.
Okay. How are your crops?
We lease it out. So
you lease it out.
Yep.
I should have known that.
Yep.
I should have guessed that.
So.
Anyway, Mark Campbell's of our guest. If you have a question or a comment that massive project going on down the courthouse.
Yes,
with
yep.
the bell tower.
Supervisor Carlson is kind of in charge of that. He meets with them, and he's been doing a tremendous job keeping us updated on the improvements. And then every now and then, 2 or 3 of us will go up and actually take pictures. It's quite the trek. So if you want to go someday, let me know.
This is AM 1400 KVFT, the voice of Fort Dodge. You're on the air with Supervisor Campbell.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there's any plans to put a playground out at the OHB park for the little kids.
Did you get that?
Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to check with the conservation director. That is a great idea. With the campground, I think it's been extremely successful, the campground and the cabins this year. So I definitely will reach out to Matt and find out and see what he says.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Thank
we
you.
go out there quite often, and there's always a bunch of little kids that can't ride or are done riding for the day, and they still want something to do. So it'd be great to have a playground out there for them.
That is great. Hopefully we won't get sued for doing a good thing like that.
Right.
Hey, that's a great idea. I hope the county and whatever agencies can get it done.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you
sir.
for calling.
This is AM 1400 KVFT, the voice for Dodge. Again, if you have a question or comment for Supervisor Campbell, 515-955-1400. Let's talk about our track out there.
OHV Park.
OHV Park. Thank you very much. Is that still getting the attendance that it did?
Incredible numbers.
Really?
We have an absolutely amazing conservation employee out there, Tasha Nielsen. Does a tremendous job. It is one of the largest in the Midwest, and you can go by there any day of the week. I come in 6:37 in the morning, and there's cars out there. Some are campers, I understand that, but you can camp, you can fish, and I'm going to find out if they're going to have a playground. But that park is unbelievable. If you have not had an opportunity to go out and utilize it, please do. It's definitely unique to our area and brings a lot of people. Just drive around the parking lot, look at the license plates. They're not from here. So
yeah, that's great.
It really is. It's a great asset.
Supervisor Dinklaw, who is who does not hate fun. He's all about fun. Was talking a year or two ago about allowing over-the-road vehicles like that, or all-terrain vehicles like that, to come up South 22nd Street. Whatever happened to that idea?
I believe he is continuing that conversation with the city. He'd like to have a designated route for them to come in, utilize hotels, gas, shopping, those types of things. The county did adopt an ordinance that allows them on roads out in the county. I think it's progressing, so we'll see where it goes.
It's a great idea. I know some people were concerned about OHVs or on the highway or on the shoulder. Did we get that done, or is that part of the conversation?
Nope, we did adopt that ordinance. We still have some people very concerned about it, so we try to address any concerns immediately. I mean, they are called off-highway vehicle for a reason,
right.
So we've limited the speed that they can go. But there's quite a few people out there riding them legally, so that's what we want. And as long as they're safe and following the law, then it's a good thing for everybody. Jim Stubbs would be the person that could tell you more if there's been an issue, but just found out for that gentleman that called in. Yes, there is plans for a playground out there. We've applied for a couple grants. We haven't got them yet. And it looks like the Conservation Trust budget is looking at doing it in the next couple of years.
Is this Cosgrove? Or?
Yep, Matt Cosgrove just texted me back.
Good for him.
The guy's great.
Yeah, Matt's a good guy, and he's on the ball all the time. That's good. Well, I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, kids. I'm out of that time in life, of course, but to keep kids occupied is kind of a big thing, so the adults can kind of chill.
And it's neat to, if you do get the opportunity to go out there and see, there are different levels of track out there, and those young kids riding those little mini bikes, it's just incredible how much fun they're having. And they're socializing with other people, they're talking, they're not sitting looking at a tablet, and it's what we want. We want them out doing things, so it's great.
Yeah, well, I'm glad it worked out that way. I don't know who had the idea to take that old mining area and turn it into an OHV park, but it was a great idea.
Oh heavens, yes. The Webster County Wheelers, I believe, started that. So
did they?
Yeah.
Well, it was a great idea, certainly. Yeah, AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. Our guest is County Supervisor Mark Campbell. So again, if you have a question or comment for Supervisor Campbell, it's 955-1400. By the way, we're on audio and video on my Facebook page, 1400 AM 1400 KVFD. If you'd like to see Mark, nobody needs to see me because you see me all the time. So you're kind of the drainage guy. Is there anything going on with drainage laws?
Yeah, well, nope. Laws are staying the same. Keith's my go-to with drainage right now.
Keith is.
Yeah. Right now with crops in the field, there's not a whole lot going on. This fall, there's some pretty big projects for cleanouts and some Jamie Joel came out with culvert replacements. So yeah, things are going pretty good and pretty smooth. Unfortunately with COVID, a lot of things slowed down, but it did give us in secondary roads and conservation an opportunity to get some projects done that they didn't think they would. So
one good thing about getting older is you understand, first of all, that going to the owl's nest all the time wasn't the greatest idea. Or neither was walking across 20 over to the disco den.
Again, way before.
Way. Yeah. That may be before Mark.
That's way before.
But you do appreciate things like the OHV Park.
Oh, it's great. Last week I took the time and went over and tried the mountain bike trails across from Amigos.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. I mean, those trails are second to none. 2 weeks ago, I was over in North Liberty riding the Sugar Bottom trails at Corville Lake.
Oh, you do this. You have all
and met people that were just traveling around Iowa riding trails, and they told me they were coming to Fort Dodge to try ours the next day. So,
no kidding.
Yeah, I'm the goofball that was out mountain biking when the storm went through Cedar Rapids. So
that was a bad one, man.
Yeah.
I was down to see Luke over the weekend. That town still hasn't. It still looks
incredible.
like hell.
So,
well.
But yeah, the Fort Dodge Cycle Club, Mountain Bike Club, they have done absolutely incredible. If you guys, I mean, seriously, those are incredible trails over there and impeccably groomed too. So get out and enjoy it. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. Okay. And let's see. What else? What was I thinking about? Roller skating rinks in Fort Dodge? I'm having an episode today, Mark.
Oh.
Anyway, Supervisor Mark Campbell has been our guest. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Prioritizing fields with harvest. Hello, I'm Megan Grebner, and this is Managing for Profit on Brownfield, a content partnership with Channel Seed. Having a plan heading into harvest can be extremely beneficial. A channel agronomist says if farmers want to maximize the bushels harvested, they need to evaluate plant health in each field. And this Managing for Profit, Matt Nelson details what farmers need to watch for this time of year. We'll find out more on Brownfield right after this.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
An agronomist with Channel Seed says heading into harvest, farmers should take some time to evaluate crop health and start to plan. Matt Nelson says there are a couple of easy ways for farmers to evaluate fields.
The push and pinch tests are some of the best options we have to evaluate how our crop is standing. These two are specifically in corn. I usually encourage people to find 5 representative parts of the field, so not the worst or the best looking areas, and count out 20 plants in a row and start to push those plants over to 45-degree angle from waist height, essentially. And what we're looking for is the percentage of plants that snap and fall off when you do that test. What we're looking for is plants that actually break off. And if we're over 15% failing, we may be looking at some severe stalk lodging issues if a windstorm would happen to blow through before you get to harvest. And that could result in significant yield loss if those plants end up on the ground. they may be impossible to harvest. So that's one way we can really encourage people to prioritize a field, is by going out and doing a push test or a pinch test if you think you had some stalk diseases like anthracnose or crown rot in that field during the growing season.
Anthracnose stalk rot is one of the most prevalent stalk diseases in North America.
In general, though, it's a disease that we don't really know the presence of or the pressure of until we get into harvest. Most farmers, in fact, probably won't catch it until they're out harvesting. If you think about the growing conditions that we had this year, high temperatures, lots of plant stress, in some cases, excessive rainfall, and that rainfall leading to something like nitrogen or other nutrient deficiency, those can all help weaken stalks. And a weakened stalk is one where anthracnose will move in a little bit easier than a normal growing season. In terms of managing that, the best option is to plant a hybrid that has more resistance to it. And then those are fields at harvest we're going to want to consider harvesting first if we're trying to prioritize harvest order.
Nelson says farmers should take advantage of the Channel Field Checkup series.
The season can come out, they can do yield checks, they can just kind of give you a general assessment of how the year went in that field. And that's something, after you get your harvest data, then these checkups kind of help tell a better story and give you more information about what happened in that field and how the products they selected performed, as well as how the environment affected the stored yield on your farm.
Always read and follow IRM where applicable, grain marketing and all other stewardship practices, and pesticide label directions. I'm Megan Grebner with Managing for Profit on Brownfield, a content partnership with Channel Seed.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace is the only national retailer that carries Benjamin Moore paint, which means the paint you trust and a huge selection of colors are right in your neighborhood. And right now, when you buy a sample of Benjamin Moore paint, we'll give you $5 off your next paint purchase. So if you're looking for award-winning service and a new look for your home, look no further than Benjamin Moore paint at Ace. Offer valid on gallons of Benjamin Moore, Clark & Kensington, and Royal Paint. Limit $1 $5 coupon on 1 gallon purchase at participating Ace stores only. See store for additional details and exclusions.
Capital One checking and savings accounts have no fees or minimums, and a top-rated banking app that lets you manage your money anytime, anywhere, even from your favorite hiking trail. With Capital One's app, you can check your balance, deposit checks, pay bills, and transfer money from wherever you are, anytime you want, even when you're cooking dinner. Open a fee-free checking or savings account online in about 5 minutes. This is banking reimagined. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Your news, your town, your station. KBFD News when it breaks.
From the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones. 34-year-old Fort Dodge resident Leon Drayton Sr. has entered guilty pleas to multiple charges stemming from an incident earlier this year. Drayton will serve up to 5 years after pleading guilty to false imprisonment, domestic abuse assault while possessing a weapon, and harassment in the first degree. On May 9th, Drayton allegedly made entry into a residence on Avenue M West here in Fort Dodge. He then allegedly assaulted a female victim, resulting in multiple injuries to her face. Police say Drayton then forced the victim into a vehicle while allegedly holding her at knife point. An 8-year-old child was present during the incident and was able to hide while the initial assault took place, but then the child was forced into the vehicle by Drayton. He was given a plea deal by the Webster County Attorney's Office that dropped felony charges of burglary, kidnapping, and willful injury. Residents and business owners in 10 additional Iowa counties who suffered financial losses from the August derecho may apply for individual assistance from FEMA. Radio Iowa's OK Henderson with more.
On August 20th, Lynn County residents and businesses got the go-ahead to apply for FEMA's individual assistance. The 10 additional counties now included in the program are Benton, Boone, Cedar, Jasper, Marshall, Polk, Poweshiek, Scott, Story, and Tama counties. Renters, homeowners, and businesses in those 11 counties can apply for federal help in covering housing expenses, personal property losses, and medical bills. The original request Governor Kim Reynolds made to FEMA asked that federal individual assistance be available for residents in 16 other counties as well. But according to a statement from the governor's office, assessments in those counties indicated the level of destruction from the derecho was not significant enough to meet FEMA's thresholds. Radio Iowa, I'm OK Henderson.
Jesse Green is a candidate running for the District 24 seat in the Iowa Senate. He recently joined Divine Intervention with Mike Divine on KBFD AM 1400. Green is a farmer from the Harcourt area and talked about his background in farming.
We have an interesting operation. It's mainly corn and beans, farm with my dad and my brother. But we also raise bucking horses for rodeos and longhorn cattle for roping.
Green went on to say that he is running for office because he wants to be able to serve the public.
Well, so my entire life has been one of public service. Through that, it just developed that community mindset that to be aware of how your actions affect other people and to be a part of the solution rather than the problem.
When asked whether he was in favor of Iowa keeping Medicare privatized, Jesse Green had this to say.
I think the state has saved a little bit of money, but this whole public and private debate shouldn't be the center of the debate. It's how can we make the situation better? If it's working for other states, there's got to be a way we can make it work better for Iowans.
Jesse Green is the Republican candidate for Iowa Senate District 24 seat. He'll meet Cynthia Passion in the November election. One of Iowa high school football's oldest running rivalries will not happen this Friday. Fort Dodge was set to go on the road and take on Mason City on Friday night. However, Mason City's football program has been suspended for 2 weeks after members of the coaching staff were exposed to the COVID-19 virus. Mason City made the announcement on Tuesday to suspend football for 2 weeks. The Dodgers and the Mohawks have played over 100 times in their respective school histories. The Dodgers have won 16 in a row in the series. Fort Dodge is currently looking for an opponent at the last minute to fill the now open date they have this Friday night. That's your Alpha Media News Update from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom. I'm Rob Jones.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major averages closing sharply higher, with the Nasdaq and S&P 500 notching new record closes following a report that the CDC is telling states to prepare for a coronavirus vaccine by November. The Dow rising 455 points and crossing the 29,000 mark for the first time since February. The Nasdaq up 117, S&P 500 up 54. And United Airlines is slashing over 16,000 jobs when federal aid runs out this fall. Those involuntary cuts, many of them furloughs, mean that staffers can be called back if demand returns. And it just doesn't stop in the skies. Job cuts on the rails. U.S. passenger railroad Amtrak will furlough more than 2,000 workers as a result of the steep decline in travel demand from the pandemic. Amtrak says that ridership and revenue levels are down 95% year over year since the outbreak began. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
I'm David Scranton. Do you know how to convert your retirement savings into steady income? Start by calling the Retirement Income Store today.
Call 866-976-9518. That's 866-976-9518.
The Retirement Income Store, where retirees go for income.
Online at theretirementincomeStore.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Marvelous, because I, a thespian, have been on a quest for the perfect insurance.
Sweet balcony.
I've requested no less than 13 balconies.
That's a lot.
All the world's a stage.
Well, with Liberty Mutual, thou customize and thou saveth.
That's the spirit.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
This is AM 1400 KBFD, the voice of Fort Dodge 437. Obituaries this hour brought to you by the historic Bruce Funeral Home at 923 First Avenue South, Fort Dodge. You may contact the historic Bruce Funeral Home by calling 515-576-5117 or online at www.brucesfuneralhome.com. Mr. Alf Lee has passed away. Mr. Alf Lee has died. Services for Mr. Lee will be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow here in town. Obituaries this hour brought to you by the historic Bruce's Funeral Home at 923 First Avenue South, Fort Dodge. You may contact the historic Bruce Funeral Home by calling 515-576-5117 or online at www.brucesfuneralhome.com. www.brucesfuneralhome.com. This is AM 1400 KVFD.
With the KVFD Sports Report, I'm Rob Jones. One of Iowa high school football's oldest running rivalries will not happen this Friday. Fort Dodge was set to go on the road and take on Mason City on Friday night. However, Mason City's football program has been suspended for 2 weeks after members of the coaching staff were exposed to the COVID-19 virus. Mason City made the announcement on Tuesday to suspend football for 2 weeks. The Dodgers and the Mohawks have played over 100 times in their respective school histories. The Dodgers have won 16 in a row in the series. Fort Dodge is currently looking for an opponent at the last minute to fill the now open date they have this Friday night. The University of Iowa Athletic Department has announced that it's pausing workouts for all its teams until the day after Labor Day. The announcement was made due to rising COVID-19 concerns on campus. Dr. Andrew Peterson, an Iowa professor and head team physician, said, quote, due to the recent increase in cases in the community, we've made the decision to pause voluntary and mandatory workouts until after Labor Day. We remain confident in our overall process, including testing, contact tracing, and daily health screening, end quote. As part of the return to campus protocol, the University of Iowa conducted over 800 COVID-19 tests last week. 93 of those tests were positive and 722 came back negative. The University of Iowa's protocol also includes isolation for people who test positive and quarantine for those who might have been exposed to someone with the virus. And that's your afternoon sports report for Divine Intervention with Mike Divine on KVFD AM 1400.
Michael Divine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
That AM 1400 KVFD.
That's right. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. I'm Michael Divine. Joining us now, Dr. Lee Heeb. How are you, Doctor?
Yeah, very good.
All right. I'm glad to hear it. I don't know whether you saw this in the news today, but there was a kid in Wisconsin, young guy, 23 years old. He was all decked out in black with a military-style helmet and goggles, and he had these military-type pouches all over the place, and he had fireworks there and laser-type devices to hurt policemen and all these sorts of things. And he was carrying a flamethrower, and he was known in Antifa. Yeah, you're a big man, really big man, carrying a flamethrower, and apparently he was known to his fellow I don't know what you call him, his fellow rioters as Commander Red. Well, Commander Red was chased down by the police. He fell on the ground and went into the fetal position and started crying.
Oh, my God.
Which reinforces every stereotype I ever felt about these little white guy weenies out in the streets and these pathetic mayors like Portland's Ted Wheeler, who's obviously trying to get a position in Joe Biden's cabinet. Pray that he never gets it. By letting these guys tear up cities and city blocks and terrorize populations, and they're just a bunch of little punks.
It's unbelievable what's going on, but it's not without precedent. I mean, you know, the difference I think is that when the Bolsheviks took over the Soviet Union, they were hardened. A lot of them were hardened from living under the Tsar and just, I mean, living hard, and also because they'd been in the army.
Yeah.
But these guys are not, you know, these guys are not, fortunately, most of them are not they're not vets. They don't have, like, this guy clearly is not. I mean,
yeah, I'd have to say. I bet he's he's a fast food worker. How much you want to bet?
Yeah, that's probably right. Or a surgeon, I hope not.
Oh, yeah, that would be bad.
I mean, we're rolling over like little girls, and that's doing a disservice to little girls. The medical people that are not necessarily bringing you this, they're not bringing you this mess, the average doctor on the street, but we're kind of rolling over and not standing up for what we know is wrong. And I think most doctors understand that quarantining people, isolating people for a positive test that has no benchmarks, that you don't know what it means, and it's probably like testing, you know, like it's wrong. It's wrong to do that. And it's like, we don't go around and test people for the common cold every winter and then shut down and quarantine people because of the results. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the problem here is that as try as they might, does anybody think this is much worse than a flu season? I mean, really, everybody says, oh, yeah, no, this woman in Des Moines died of it. Or, well, yes, and that happens in flu season, but they don't put it on the national news. They don't tally it. They don't keep it in your head. It's like an earworm. They're just constantly bombarding us with stuff that makes this sound worse than it is. But keeping in mind that your survival rate is 99.991%.
Well,
that's a pretty darn good survival rate.
It's propaganda.
Worldwide.
It's propaganda.
The propaganda is terrorizing people, and people. I think that some people should know better, like the doctors. But the average person on the street, I get it. They don't necessarily have the technical expertise to separate out the nonsense from what really is happening here. And I tried to do that, by the way, in my video, which I have, that people can look up if they want. I mean, this is just not my opinion. I go through the science of mask wearing, of social distancing, of the actual death count, what it really means, and hydroxychloroquine, the scam about that, which is really the worst of all. But and they can, at YouTube, if you search my name, Lee, it's under Lee Merritt, actually, Merritt, my married name. But that's basically, I go through all that, and it's like, and I've had so many people. I have over 42,000 views in a couple of weeks, which is amazing for me. But I've had so many people contact me and say thank you, because it answers what I've been trying to understand. And this isn't that hard, but they make it sound complicated because they want to confuse people, and they just want to make people victims. And they're doing a really good job of it. I can't remember what Fauci just said that was just crazy. And that's, I know that when he said there was no reason for people not to go to the voting booth, that's when the liberal media shut him up.
Yeah, that's right. They don't want to hear that.
They quit reporting him after that. Yeah, because he's saying, why can't
is there any doubt that the Democratic Party is trying to tie COVID to Trump? I mean, it's irrefutable. I mean, they're not talking about how good their candidates are. They're not talking about really any programs that they have. It's COVID and Trump, and there's old sleepy Joe Biden talking about we're going to restore America's soul. Can you believe this guy?
But the way he's going to restore America's soul, I mean, and this is not just my opinion, this is what they say. They're going to limit our gun rights or take them away. They're going to force everybody to wear a mask. They're quadrupling our taxes. He wants a $4 trillion tax hike. What was the other thing I heard? Well, and ultimately, everybody's going to get taxed worse. They're going to limit their liberty, including their gun rights, which I think people are waking up to see how important that is right now.
Well,
I'm not sure why. And besides the fact, I'm not voting for anybody that can't come out of their basement. I'm just not doing that.
Well, they brought him out recently. I don't know if it's going to be worth it to get him out, because Joe Biden's a very poor candidate. He's just too damned old.
Well, and he's demented. I mean, let's just be honest here.
He does.
His signs of dementia are getting worse by the day, and I would say that no matter what party he is, that this is a guy who's got clinical dementia. And not to say we didn't have, maybe Reagan did in the past, but he didn't demonstrate it like this. I mean, they said, after Reagan was out of office, they said that he was showing signs towards the end of his presidency. Yeah, it could be true, but we didn't see it like this.
No.
This is pretty dramatic. And,
well, Reagan was 69 years old when he took office, and everybody was groaning at the time he was too old.
Right.
Now we got two candidates over 70. I don't get that either.
Yeah.
We got a Speaker of the House that's 80.
Yeah, I know it. But and then the other thing is, I just think statistically it's hard to buy that all Republicans are stupid, and they're all racist. I mean, it's just like
stupid and racist. Yeah,
you can't tell me. Yeah, but no matter what your education level and what your abilities are, you're stupid. Reagan was stupid. Bush was stupid.
We're all stupid. You're stupid.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
stupid.
all stupid. Yeah, it's just kind of. But I think that the problem is going to be how we deal with the results of this election. I mean, whatever happens, it's not going to be pretty.
It's not.
If Biden wins, nobody is in their right mind can think this is an electoral victory. I mean, I don't think so. I just don't think there's any way this could possibly be true. And So then what happens? Well, and if Trump wins, the other side's going to say, there's no way he won. Well, we might know he won, but we want to take him out anyway. He's not competent. You know? So, and you're right. The COVID thing is being blamed on Trump, even though, let's all face it, he's the one that wanted to shut down international travel right away. Mm-hmm. He's the one that wanted to give us hydroxychloroquine right away. It's the Democrat cities that are collapsing, and it's the Democrats where they put old people in nursing homes next to COVID victims. You know, so it's hard for me to buy that it's some problem with this.
You know, and
I'm trying to figure out what he did wrong.
Well, Trump is just
other than having Fauci.
Trump is just playing these people. I mean, and they are responding out of bitterness and hatred and contempt. Trump's offering to send in troops. He knows damn well that the mayor's going to say no, but it looks to the American public like the mayors are being petty and flat out stupid. Well, they are being petty and flat out stupid. Right. I mean, and Trump knows this. Go ahead, make a big deal like Ted Wheeler of Portland did the other day. Make a big dramatic letter, and of course it was all Trump's fault that these riots have been going on for well over 100 days now. Is that pathetic? I mean, here's a mayor who can't protect his own city. He can't take decisive action in his own city, and he's carrying on like he's going to be a cabinet member. God, he probably will be.
Yeah. You know, the other thing that's very interesting here, and I don't know, I mean, I'm sure you're my age, so I'm sure you watched the Vietnam War on TV every night like we did. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that you saw is you always saw the same burning helicopter. You know, you did. I mean, it's like it was case on every night, and it was the burning helicopter, and it was the same kind of shots of tragedy and terrible moments. Well, my friend just got back from Portland. Why he and his wife went there, I guess it was to see relatives. I said it wouldn't be my vacation destination right now, but they went out there and they said, you know, it's not what we're seeing on the news. It's not what we're hearing about. It's not like the whole city's burning down. There's a very discrete area, and during the day, nothing's going on. And then at night, it's like everybody goes to work, and then when they get off from their barista job, then they put on their black flak jackets and they come out and they stage these very visible riots at night. So, and that's what's getting reported as if it's happening all the time, but it's not. This is a staged event. This is like, again, I was saying, this whole thing, the coronavirus and this, it's all kabuki theater. It's just a visual, crazy made up plot here.
Well, obviously.
It's a little hard for me to know if I were living in that area where it's happening, I would be upset. And I think as it comes out in the suburbs, that's not going to go well with anybody.
Oh, no, definitely not. And the Democrats have panicked now. And of course, you know, the Pearl Harbor thing was all Trump's fault. Polio was Trump's fault. I mean, they could figure out. I'm surprised that they haven't blamed the Civil War on Donald Trump, but it's always Trump's fault, for God's sake. And this is no exception. Now, Trump had, what's that, Lee?
It was systemic racism in retrospect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Donald Trump and the.
I'm sure there was. I'm sure there was systemic racism. But I have heard that most of these protests are being led by white women in their university-educated white women in their, who are middle-aged, and it appears that way. I do as well.
You know, I saw a video, and it was some black woman saying, "Why are these white people coming and damaging our businesses?
Yeah,
burning our places." You know, and that's a good point. It's a very good point. It's like the guy you saw. This is quite a long time ago now, but it's like a white guy accosting another white guy in his car for being white. It was on the news one night. It was like, what? You know, you just can't make this stuff up. But they brainwashed a whole generation or two of our young college students that are feeding into this. Mm-hmm. And it's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt, as your guy just demonstrated by crying on the ground. I mean, but I got to tell you, nonetheless, we shouldn't minimize this. I mean, this is the way that they're using the playbook that worked, taking over Germany, taking over the Soviet Union. I mean, this is the Marxist playbook. And if we just ignore this and think it's all just silly, we could be in real trouble. And for me, I'll tell you where I'm drawing the line. So Omaha has a mask law, and I just want people to think about this. Masks don't work. And there's I can't say every, but every piece of literature I've looked at, and I looked at a lot, before this all came out, shows that masks don't work for small viruses. And that's like influenza. They just published a thing at the CDC showing that masks, hand washing, and sterilizing your environment, disinfecting your environment, do not limit the spread of influenza, which is a 0.12 micron virus, just like this, and actually less communicable, apparently. So, you know, if it can't control that, it can't control this. So masks are a joke for this. No virologist wears a mask. They wear a hazmat type suit, a biocontainment suit. So that's, what are we doing it for? And the answer is, it's an optic. It is a sign that you are submitting to their authority.
Yes, it is. That's exactly what it is.
And I can't tell you how many patients I have that come in the office and they're happy they're not being forced to wear a mask. And it is the law in the city where I practice that if you have a medical condition, you don't need to wear the mask. And of course, it's not legal for me to ask them what their medical condition is. But I point out to them that, you know, even if you go in most stores where they want you to wear a mask, if you don't wear a mask, they're not going to do anything. And the police have said they're not going to enforce this. They're not going to fine people and stuff. They might hand out a mask, but they're not going to make a big deal about this. It's not their job, and they're right. But the point is, if we don't say this is nonsense up with which we will not put, and stop this here, when we can all get together in a group and do it, it's going to be a lot easier than when you're alone in your house and they're dragging you out to vaccinate you, because that's where this is coming, or test you. You know, they're talking about, I've heard on the news that they were going to be instituting roadblocks down in Austin, Texas, and some other places for testing. You're going to have to test past the roadblock. Now, again, this is scientific nonsense. We don't test for the adenovirus or the rhinovirus every cold season. And this is the same principle. It's not indicated. And even the CDC is now saying, don't test asymptomatic people. It's not helping. Well, that's true. And it was always a scam, and it's just been caught out. But are we going to fight it, or are we just going to roll over? Because the longer we roll over here, we are just accepting that without scientific basis, they can lock us down. If they can force you to wear a mask, they can force you to stay in your basement.
Sure they can.
They can force you to take a vaccine. They can force you to get tested. That's the principle here that they're using. And I'm very scared of that principle. You know, I've been complaining about mandatory vaccines or vaccines under coercion for years. If you want to vaccinate yourself, go for it. I don't care if you want to do it voluntarily. You have the chance to educate yourself and come up with a conclusion. That's what, you know, when they always talk about patient-centered medicine, the whole idea is patients, you know, that when I was in medical school in the 70s, they said, you know, it was kind of like, doctors, you are on too many big pedestals in your white coat, and you shouldn't just be the voice of authority. You should involve the patient in the medical decision making. So we do that, and I think that was exactly right. We shouldn't be telling people what to do. They should have a choice in how their health care goes. And we explain to them what we think are the pros and cons, and then you make a decision with me, or you make the final decision. It's the actual fact. But now we're being told, no, patients don't have the right to their own medical care. They're going to have to take what the government tells them to take. And I believe it's Virginia now has got a bill in their legislature to make mandated any vaccine the CDC says is recommended. And that's even before they're mandating. They want to mandate this vaccine, and it's not even out of testing. You know, so there's nothing good going to come of this. You have to stop this somewhere, and it's easier to stop this at the mass level. And I think I said this last week, but it's worth repeating that the Manchu is a perfect historical example of this. The Han Chinese, who were the majority in China years ago, when the Ming Dynasty fell, the men were forced to wear the Manchu at the braid down the back,
yeah.
Penalty of death, because it was a sign of submission to the Manchu Dynasty.
Right.
And that's where we are right now. You wear a mask, you're submitting.
You know, often racism is talked about in the United States because there are people in the United States who can gain power by talking about this awful situation. But China, with their tribalism, my God, I can't tell the difference between a Han Chinese and a Fan, but they know. They know.
They can tell.
They can.
Yeah,
they can. Years ago in the Rwanda thing, I couldn't tell the difference between Hutsi tribesmen. Yeah, I could, but they knew, and they were killing each other.
Right. Well, and actually, I always forget who was who, but it was actually after if the Tutsis disarmed the Hutus or the Hutus disarmed the Tutsis. It was first they disarmed them, then they killed them.
That's exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened. All right, Dr. Lee Hebe has been our guest. I'm sorry, Lee, we got to go. I hate to cut you off. Hey, thank you. This is AM 1400 KVFD. The Voice of Fort Dodge.
I'm Phil Gunderson. Gunderson's has a tradition of providing services unmatched in our community. Funeral, cremation, and pre-planning services with certified celebrants on staff, aftercare, video, and customized printed goods that are the standard. We offer live streaming options and community support with remembrance and educational programs. When it's time to look for a funeral home, look to Gunderson's.
Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the Voice of Fort Dodge. It's 4:59. I'm Michael Devine. I want to thank my guest today, Dr. Lee Hebe, certainly, Supervisor Mark Campbell, City Councilman Jeff Halder, Councilman Terry Moehnke, and of course, the exotic Mike Ewing. No, he's erotic. He's from exotic Farmville. Yeah, I got to get that right. I just got to get it right. Anyway, I want to especially thank you all the time for listening. I really, truly appreciate it. I hope we can be a sounding board for our entire area. That's still the goal. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon now. Fox News is next. KVFD, Fort Dodge, Iowa. Thank you again.
Hi, this is Gary Rima, the voice of the University of Northern Iowa Panthers, and this is the home for Panther Sports, the voice of Fort Dodge, KVFD, Fort Dodge.
Accusing the president of dropping the ball. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden says President Trump mishandled the pandemic and it's hurting kids.
At an event in Wilmington, Delaware, Joe Biden said President Trump is offering only failure and delusion in his response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Donald Trump and Betsy DeVos, Secretary DeVos, haven't stepped up. And we're all seeing the results. Millions of students are now starting the new school year in the same way they finished the last one, at home.
Biden says he would use federal disaster assistance to direct funding to schools to help safe reopenings and urged President Trump to negotiate with Congress on more economic relief. Biden will travel to Wisconsin tomorrow with a stop in Kenosha. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
President Trump in North Carolina today, marking the 75th World War II.
It is my tremendous honor to officially designate Wilmington, North Carolina, as our nation's very first World War II heritage city.
The president honored veterans, including 97-year-old Woody Williams, the last surviving Marine from the war to receive the Medal of Honor. He fought in the Battle of Iwo Jima. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi claiming a salon visit this week in her home district, where she's been seen on video not wearing a mask, was a setup.
I just had my hair washed. I don't wear a mask when I'm washing my hair. Do you wear a mask when you're washing your hair? I always have a mask.
The video shows a maskless Pelosi with a stylist in the otherwise empty salon. Hair salons in San Francisco have been closed for months due to the pandemic. Wall Street at the close. The Dow added 454 points. The NASDAQ plus 116. The S&P gained 54 points. Both the NASDAQ and S&P hit all-time highs. America is listening to Fox News.
So who is your wireless provider? AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile? The average person is saving $400 a year by switching to Pure Talk USA. Pure Talk is on the same network, same towers, just 50% off in terms of price. Right now, get unlimited talk, text, and 2 gigs of data for just $20 a month. Switch to Pure Talk today. Now, from your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say Pure Radio. That's pound 250, Pure Radio, Pure Talk USA. Simply smarter wireless.
This is a special end-of-summer announcement from Dell. At our Labor Day sale, small businesses can save up to 50% on select business computers with Intel Core processors. We're committed to taking your business to the next level. Give our small business technology advisors a call. They'll identify the right tech solution for your business with Labor Day savings. Visit Dell.com/business deals or call us at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.